possession and distribution of child pornography. Police say 43-year-old Timothy Seaman was the subject of at least 2 complaints about being handsy with underage people. And when they searched his phone, they say that's where the evidence of child pornography was found. He was arrested in Porterville. A man was hit by a big truck and killed in front of the 4 people who were in his car Monday afternoon, says the Highway Patrol. That happened on Highway 166 south of Maricopa and east of Soda Lake Road. That was about 15 p.m. The man had gotten out of the car to check on his tires and was about to get back in when he was hit. The driver of the truck wasn't hurt, and neither were any of the passengers, say officers. Getting a vehicle out of a canal can be a tough and a touchy job. Bakersfield Search and Rescue posted some pictures to their Facebook page of them pulling an SUV from a canal. They did not give the exact location, nor did they say how it got in there. What they did say, though, is that cars can leak gas, oil, and other liquids, and that can be bad for the water. So they were extra careful. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think, this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You gotta get a post like this. Bada bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'll make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, be viewing, for those subscribing on YouTube. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Wednesday, right here on News Talk 96.1 at AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at KERNradio.com. Chris Burdick is producing the broadcast. And we got another busy show. Lots going on inside the Beltway right here in Kern County. The jury is deliberating. Mr. Burdick, keep your eyes open because, to be honest with you, now that the trial is over and I can't influence a jury, I don't think it's going to take very long, to be honest with you. I don't think it's going to take very long. I suspect, on just a hunch, we might get a verdict by the end of the day on Maya Hernandez, the hot car mom who left her 2 children in her vehicle on a hot summer day. She's being charged with second-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter and child cruelty. We will give you some of my speculation on that. We've got another predator amongst our children. A PE teacher up in Tehachapi has been arrested and caught with child pornography at his home. We'll get into that. Meant to get into the Susie Wiles story yesterday. She sat down with Chris Whipple, a Vanity Fair reporter, and I'm now learning for 11 months. This thing went on. This is a lengthy interview process the Vanity Fair did, and to no one's surprise, everybody says when things don't look the way they remember it, things were taken out of context, and they cherry picked and blah 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 blah. But I just don't understand. What do you expect when you sit down with a reporter? It's one of the reasons I always tell the Stan Simron story. Old folks will remember Stan Simron. He was one of the best defense attorneys in town throughout the late 20th century. He was a pharmacist who literally, as the story was told to me, saw a law school on the back of a matchbook cover and decided to go to law school late in life, like in his 50s. And like I said, became one of the finest defense attorneys in this town. His most famous case, I think, is the judge who had an affair with a local model and had the affair in his chambers, and I'm pretty sure he got him off, no pun intended. But he would not do an interview unless it was live. I was doing television at the time, and whenever I would approach him, he said, "Ralph, I'll do it live, but I ain't doing a tape," meaning I'm not going to allow you, Ralph Bailey, to go sit in an editing bay and cut up and choose from what I told you to what's going to be on the air. And it's the same thing in print. That's why I have always said radio is absolutely, irrefutably the purest form of communications. Because when we have a guest sitting in that chair right there or over the Rogers Brandon telephone network, it is what it is. There's no editing. You hear it exactly out of the horse's mouth. And Susie Wiles sat down with Mr. Whipple for 11 months. And I think she was kind of cleaning up her own reputation. And she didn't really damage the president. And she didn't really damage the party. But she tore apart J.D. Vance. She spoke glowingly of Marco Rubio, but she tore up Pam Bondi and had some negative things to say about other members of the cabinet, which I think I've heard before from somebody. Chris, haven't I heard somebody bagging on this cabinet? I can't. Well, anyway, we'll get into that. The president, when we get off the air, as a matter of fact, 5:59:59, the president is going to address the nation at 6 o'clock. I'm sure that affordability will be mentioned, but apparently it's mostly going to be on Venezuela, from what I understand, because we've upped the ante with the Venezuelans. We are under a complete and total blackout of all sanctioned oil tankers after we commandeered a Venezuelan oil tanker fairly recently, earlier this week. And so we will hear from the president, which draws us to our QO the D, our question of the day, as we head into 2026 and the first year of the Trump administration. What grade would you give this administration? I thought about it long and hard, and I have come up with a C+. I would give the president a B to B+ on foreign policy. I would give him a C- on domestic policy. I think, excuse me, I'm sorry. I think what the administration is saying is right. I think the first quarter of 2026 is the fork in the road, and that's what they're depending on. And so I can't include that in my gauging this administration in 25. Domestically, I think it's been average at best. I think the focus in the first 11 months has been foreign policy, and he's done wonders. Again, I give him a B, B+, but domestically, I give him a C-. So overall, I give him a C+. Now, what the administration is saying, and I think you'll hear this from the president tonight at 6 o'clock, is that wait for the first quarter of next year, because that's when the no tax on tips kicks in. That's when the no tax on overtime, Social Security, that's when much of the big, beautiful bill that Democrats have ravaged starts to kick in. The tax benefits for you kick in the beginning of 26. And I think there's an opportunity to salvage the midterms. Susie Wiles doesn't think so. That was one of the controversial things that she said in this 11-month interview with Vanity Fair, that she didn't believe. She thought, and history, is against the president. I've said that only one president in the 21st century has increased his the numbers in the House and the Senate, and that was George Bush following 9/11. But there's a more even staggering stat. Since like the Civil War, it's 38 out of 41 that have lost the midterms. 38 out of 41. So history's not on his side. And personally, I don't think he's done himself any favors of our recent talks this week with Rob Reiner and the comments and other things personally. But that's the grade I give. What do you got a grade, Mr. Burdick? You need to think about it.
Give me a little bit to think about.
All right. Howard Marcus will be with us at 4 o'clock. And we were so much into talking about the comments that the president made regarding Rob Reiner. There's so many stories we didn't get to, the Susan Wiles story, nor did we get to the Mark Chavez story, one of the physicians involved with Matthew Perry's death. He was sentenced yesterday. We'll get to that. And the Powerball is finally tonight. Did you buy your tickets yet? I have not bought my tickets yet, but I think I am.
No, I haven't bought anything yet.
Couple of crazy facts about the Powerball. There's a Yonkers store in Yonkers, New York, that has sold 5 winners. Couple of thousands and 2 millions. In other words, 2 $1 million winners and like 3 that won 5,000, 4,000. And from one store. I bet the local network is doing a live shot from that store tonight.
You have to.
Because there's got to be a line out there. If I know that in Bakersfield, you don't think the people in Yonkers know that? So there's got to be a line coming out of that place.
What's the likelihood that it happens again? I mean,
What are the likelihoods that it would happen 5 times?
True, but the store gets a cut of it, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So nobody well, I guess it couldn't necessarily be somebody knows the numbers. So.
And there's another fact. In the United Kingdom, 2 people, a couple, have won $1 million prizes twice. Do you know what the odds on that are? 1 in 265 trillion.
And they were married before this happened?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And they both won $1 million.
That's awesome.
Twice.
That's awesome.
1 in 265 trillion.
You want to talk about luck of the Irish?
I would have the night that I won the second million, I would have jumped on a plane and gone to Vegas. Or if I was in the United Kingdom, I guess I would have gone to Monte Carlo.
Yeah.
But I mean, good googly moogly. We'll get into that. And I've got some other miscellaneous news and notes. There's a Jimmy Stewart biopic that's coming out that I am really, really excited about. We'll talk about that on Friday with Mr. Rick Bentley. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and get our first break of the day, and we will start with Maya Hernandez when we get back. Then at the bottom of the hour, we'll delve into the Susie Wiles story. We'll talk about the Trump administration.
I was able to track that bite down, by the way.
Chip?
Yeah.
Sweet. Or Chris?
Yeah, Chris, not Chip.
Chris Whipple. Chip.
Read the letters, right?
Yeah, exactly. My handwriting is so bad. I looked down and said, yeah, Chip Whipple. And then when you look at it, no, it says Chris, Ralph. It's an R, I guess. Quick time out. We're just getting started on a hump day, Wednesday. Mr. Marcus, our former federal agent at 4 o'clock. It's TRBS on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
On the next Armstrong and Getty show, we've been looking into this dynamic pricing thing where businesses can change prices moment by moment or customer by customer. It's way more widespread than we thought.
So we're going to wrap up our raising money for scouting, and we got some pretty fun motivators for you. It's going to be a very fun show. The next Armstrong and Getty show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Are the rising waters of expenses and debt threatening to drown you? Many people try to stay afloat by borrowing more money or using debt settlement programs, but those can take years. If you're trapped under credit card debt, medical bills, payday loans, or buy now, pay later plans, Chapter 7 bankruptcy could free you much sooner, in about 4 months and for a fraction of the cost. Stop the harassing calls and letters, rebuild your credit quickly, and clear the way for a fresh start. At Clean Slate BK Group, consumer Chapter 7 bankruptcies are all we do. We can help you erase credit card debt, medical bills, personal loans, even past due utility bills. Find out if you qualify at no cost and with no obligation. Go to csbk.com. This is an attorney advertisement. Your results may vary, and prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome. Clean Slate BK Group PC, located at 7 Penn Plaza, Suite 601, New York, 10001, is responsible for the content of this ad. For more information, visit csbk.com. That's csbk.com.
Anything
Your
on
Clean Slate
Hernandez?
starts here.
This is your intrepid news reporter, Scoop Newsman, coming to you live
Anything
from
on
a
Hernandez?
helicopter high above the historic Santa Margarita Ranch. From this break reporter's lofty vantage point, I can see preparations are continuing for the return of the Jingle Bell Express that will whisk passengers to Santa's Village.
Reports are that the historic Jingle Bell Express will be pulling amongst their cadre of rolling stock, genuine original Disney train cars. Once you arrive, kids and adults will be entertained like never before, with a mystic magic show, a charming Christmas market, adorable pony rides, and more food, fun, and frivolity than ever. The Jingle Bell Express will be arriving at the historic Santa Margarita Ranch November 28th and running until December 21st. But get your tickets now. This reporter also has a source deep inside Santa's village that has confirmed that if your plans change, your tickets can change too, from now until November. So make sure you reserve your seats on the Jingle Bell Express by going to Christmas@themargarita.com before the Christmas train passes you by.
History shows that every market fails, every currency collapses, and today, the dollar is shrinking. Trillions in national debt, record high markets defying gravity, but stocks can't go up forever. Meanwhile, groceries, housing, and transportation costs are rising, and your dollar, it buys less every day. So when the crash hits, your stocks won't save you, dollars won't either, but one thing will: gold. Gold has always survived. That's why central banks are buying gold by the ton, and billionaires are stocking up. And every day, Americans are protecting their savings and retirement with physical gold. Don't wait for the headlines. When the panic starts, it's too late. Call Lear Capital now at 800-957-GOLD to get your free gold investment kit and protect your wealth with real physical gold. With over $8 billion in trusted transactions and thousands of five-star reviews, Lear is your trusted source. Call now and also get up to $15,000 in bonus gold with a qualified purchase. Call 800-957-GOLD. That's 800-957-4653.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Great song. Totally puts me in the Wayback Machine. Reminds me of my childhood. Every Christmas when I was a little boy, my mother would take us. We were in New York. I remember it's one of the few memories I have of living in New York was going to Radio City Music Hall and seeing. I don't think we saw actually, it was Christmas, but I think we saw You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. I don't think we saw the Christmas one in New York, but I have seen the Christmas one in the theaters. In the meantime, we're keeping our eyes out on the deliberations in the Maya Hernandez case, the woman who left her child, two children, 2 and 1 year old, but Emilio Gutierrez did not survive. His temperature got as high as 107. The temperature in the car, because they what's the word I'm looking for, Chris? They re-established the scene, but there's a word that I'm missing.
Rerun?
No, they reinvented it. They reenacted. They reenacted the actual conditions of that day. Same time, similar temperature. And the car, within like an hour and a half, rose from 80 degrees to 114 degrees. The baby who passed away Emilio was 107 degrees, which is, untenable, humanly speaking. And now the jury has it. Closing arguments were yesterday, where Stephanie Takani, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, talked about the young woman's responsibility.
He says, "Did you know that prior to this happening?" Defendant responds, "I seen the news and stuff, but I didn't really think that would happen."
They're trying to say, obviously, that she was reckless and careless and negligent. They're going for second-degree murder. But the defense attorney, Terrell Wakeman, is saying that she had no idea. She did not intend for these children to die, obviously, because she left the car running and air conditioning, and she could have no knowledge of the car shutting down.
The point isn't that Maya didn't know that leaving a kid in a hot car is risky. She did. That's why she left the AC on. What she didn't know is that it would turn off. Maya thought she mitigated the risk.
And in fact, she did not. And that's really the fork in the road in the case. Here is more from prosecutor Stephanie Takani.
Ladies and gentlemen, had the defendant, Emilio and Mateo's mother, given her children so much thought that day as to go check on them once every 30 minutes, we would not be here today.
She was getting a Brazilian butt lift and was in the parlor or whatever you call it, spa. I don't know what the hell you call those places, right up the street from where we are, right down Real Road for 2 hours. They asked her if she wanted to bring the children in, and she said no. She apparently checked her Apple Watch something like 40 times. But the defense says, yes, she was irresponsible, but she had no intention of her children dying.
She was reckless. She was reckless to trust the machine. That's it. Conscious disregard has not been proven beyond a reasonable doubt in this case.
And I think he's right. And that's why I've said all along, I don't believe that they're going to come in guilty on second-degree murder. I do believe they're going to find her guilty of involuntary manslaughter and child cruelty. This child's 20 years old. And I don't know. What would you give her? If you were a one-man jury and you could sentence her to jail, how much time would you give her?
I would say 18 years.
18 years.
Solely because you took away the life of a child and
Her
you need
child.
to know
Her child.
her child.
Not somebody else's child. Someone she loved.
Exactly.
Someone she gave birth to.
But I realize, and I'm not saying this as if she is, she made a mistake. I realize that. But you need to understand the repercussions of that mistake. And maybe living out 18 years as your child should have before he became an adult will teach you that.
See, that's why I would give her 5 years.
Okay, I can give 5.
Because I
Anywhere between 5-15, I think, is a fair number.
I would not want her not to see those the boy that's still alive, the 2-year-old, being raised.
True.
Now, I know a lot of you are screaming at your radio. The reason Chris is right, Ralph, and she deserves 18 years is so that she doesn't get an opportunity to raise that other child, because clearly she's shown the inability to have the absolute simple responsibility of an adult and a parent, which is bottom line, baseline. You don't leave a 2 and a 1-year-old alone, period. Period. You don't leave them locked up in your house by themselves and go down to the neighbors to get a bowl of sugar. You don't leave a 2 and a 1-year-old alone. So I would completely understand your pushback on my 5-year sentence. I just think at 20, by definition at 20, you're stupid. I was stupid at 20. Weren't you all stupid at 20? Now, and they introduced, I'm pretty sure it was the defense that introduced the picture of her at her high school graduation with the 2-year-old.
Yeah.
That tugs at people's hearts. She was a senior in high school when she had the first baby. Of course she's going to make ridiculously stupid mistakes. But this one is beyond the pale. And that's why she has to do some time. I don't know if I'd give her 10, 15, 18 years, but she's got to do some time. I'd give her 5, let her do 2 or 3, have her involved in parental classes while she's in stir, and hope that she can salvage the family. I don't know. They haven't really discussed in great detail the whole familial situation. I don't even know if the baby daddy is involved, or if in fact he's the same father for both children.
Right. And we already know too, the surviving child he's not walking away from this unscathed. He was found pretty messed up too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So we don't even know the state in which he's in.
Yeah. And he's what, like 4 or 5
Something
now?
like that. Yeah.
I don't know. It's I think that's what's taking time, because on whether or not she did it, I mean, that should take like an hour to deliberate. I think where they're stuck, because they've been deliberating, closing arguments were yesterday, so they've been deliberating all day long. And I think where they're stuck is on the second-degree murder. I think, just like Chris and I differ, I think there are people in that room that are like, throw the damn book at her. What, are you gone crazy? And I think there are probably probably mothers. I'd be interested to look back, and I'm going to do this during the break, and see what the gender breakdown is on the jury. But what's today? Wednesday? Oh, we'll have a verdict by end of tomorrow. No later. No way this thing goes to the weekend. No way. No way in the world. And we got an interesting end of the week where we're going to find out about Miss Williams, the drunk driver, and Mr. Scrivener will be back in court on Friday as well. Quick timeout, bottom of the hour. We'll talk a little bit about Susie Wiles and her Vanity Fair interview and what she said about the president's cabinet, and preview the president's address tonight at 6 o'clock. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A federal appeals court says the National Guard deployment in the nation's capital can continue for now. The decision Wednesday stays a lower court ruling that had ordered an end to the troops' presence. Nick Reiner appeared in court as he faces charges of first-degree murder in the killing of his parents, actor-director Rob Reiner, and his wife, Michelle. The 32-year-old did not enter a plea as he appeared Wednesday from behind the glass wall of a custody area. He was in shackles and wearing a jail suicide prevention smock. President Trump plans to give a preview of his 2026 agenda in a speech at the White House tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 228 points, the Nasdaq dropped 418. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Child pornography and inappropriately touching at least 2 underage people are the accusations against Tehachapi gym teacher Timothy Seaman. The 43-year-old was arrested after the complaints and a search of his electronic devices. No name has been released yet for the man hit and killed by a truck on Highway 166 Monday afternoon, south of Maricopa. The Highway Patrol says 4 people were in his car and saw that happen. If you know who it was who had a gun inside the AM/PM convenience store November 30th on Brundage Lane, police say they'd appreciate a call. The man was caught on video and described as being in his mid-20s to 30s, slim, wearing a hoodie that had the word Thrasher in yellow, black pants, and white shoes. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. $5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PIPE to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PIPE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PIPE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
The best California courses cost a fortune unless you have the Central Coast Golf Card. It's the easiest, biggest savings golf gift. $125 can buy. No shipping required. Give the gift of great golf while it lasts at CentralCoastGolfCard.com.
It's the JR Show.
So it looks like Prop 50 is going to pass. That's fine. I respect the process. I might not agree with the outcome, but I at least respect the process. The problem is Democrats still have to win elections next year. They couldn't flip Valadeo's seat, and that district has been Democrat for a long time. So this isn't over. They might have won Prop 50, but they still need voter turnout, which is a problem for them, and they still need to win congressional races.
The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Haunted in a winter wonderland. Speaking to the snowman. Eight 842-5376, 842-KERN. So as I talked about a little bit yesterday, Susie Wiles, the Chief of Staff of the President of the United States, sat down with Chris Whipple of Vanity Fair in an 11-month recorded interview and spoke very openly about the administration, stunningly openly. I thought there are several things that I took away from the interview. I got to read it. I didn't realize I'm paying for Vanity Fair. It's another thing I'm paying for. I was like, what? But she talked about Venezuela, and she's made the same conclusion that I have, and probably the same conclusion that many of you have had, is that this is not about, she doesn't even think it's about oil. I think it's partly about oil. She definitely doesn't think it's about drugs. It's about regime change. And she was pretty open about that. And I think it absolutely is. And I think the fact that we now, today, the president announced, and he's going to talk about this tonight at 6 o'clock, a total and complete blockade on all sanctioned oil tankers going and coming out of Venezuela. And this he can get away with. This Democrats are going to have to support, as opposed to the 80-something people that he's killed on the seas and the 23 or 24 boats that they have destroyed from the Secretary of War. But this is legitimate because they're stealing this oil and they're using it for giving it to the Chinese and to Russia. And more importantly, it goes back to the Monroe Doctrine that we run this hemisphere. And don't think we don't. And so Democrats cannot walk away from this. And Maduro is a no-good POS. No one, including the Democrats, can argue that he has to go. Now, are we willing to put boots on the ground in South America? I doubt it very seriously. But the president, weeks ago, when we first played some of the audio of him defending the Venezuelan strikes on those boats, talked about, and we know where they are, and we're going to go on land as well. He never mentioned boots on the ground. I'm sure he was talking about aerial strikes, but they want Maduro out, and they're really not making any bones about it. It'll be fascinating, and you should keep your ears open. I think that is going to be the focus, although I heard Scott Jennings, who is a radio talk show host who appears on CNN a lot, on the Abby Phillips show and some others, said that they're also going to be talking about affordability. I think there are a lot of Republicans who feel like that this is the beginning of trying to turn around the midterms. I think everyone, even the RNC chair, had to walk back a comment that he made when he said, basically, we have no shot at winning the House in the midterms. He had to walk that back a little bit. Kind of hard to walk that back. You know what I'm saying? When you say we have, when a football coach says we have no chance of winning this week, you can't go in the locker room and say, let's go, boys. You can't really walk that back. And like I said, history is against the president. It's beyond just what his approval rating is. And the fact of the matter is, his approval rating is right in the zip code of where Barack Obama's was at this time and where George Bush's was, George Walker Bush, the second, the son, where his numbers were at about this time. The problem is the feeling about the economy still sucks. And Trump is falling into that Biden rabbit hole where he's telling you not to believe your lying eyes, that the eggs are coming down, the gas is coming down, and blah, 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 blah. And then, most people are saying, yeah, but so beef is up, coffee's up, this is up, and I'm spending more money than I was, and it just doesn't feel that way. And that was another criticism from Susie Wiles on the president, where she said that I would love for the president to pivot from world affairs to kitchen table issues. And that's why I give him a B+ on foreign policy and a C- on domestic policy. But the two people that she really tore up were J.D. Vance and Elon Musk. See what she said about Musk? Man, she said he's an avowed ketamine user and he sleeps in a sleeping bag in the executive office building, and he's an odd duck, as I think something it's not helpful, but he is his own person. And I think, I don't know what that word is. And I think he's a genius, and he's an odd duck. And I think geniuses are, it's not helpful, but he is his own person. And I've always said that. You've heard me say that a million times, that by definition, geniuses are odd ducks because they're on a different intellectual level than 95% of the people. So they're always outside the box. They live outside the box. We're, as an average thinker myself, I'm trying to get outside the box. Elon lives out there. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, he's an odd duck. I think she was just being honest, but she tore apart JD. She tore apart JD and reminded us all from whence JD comes, because JD Vance was once a big conspiracy guy who used to trash Trump. How Trump has embraced him and put him on the ticket after some of the things. He called him, and she reminded us, and this is why you can tell she's not a big JD Vance fan. And some are speculating that she's going to leave very soon. Chief of staffs, people in the White House, believe it or not, I don't think a lot of people know this, but you're not making a lot of money in the federal government. You really, really don't. And every one of these people, including the press secretary, could be making millions of dollars in Washington, D.C., and they're making, 70, 80, 100 grand working 60-hour weeks. And so chief of staffs don't last long. Defense and state, they kind of hang around because it's a prominent position and they can take you to the presidency. But chief of staffs and lower level cabinet members don't really last 4-8 years. I think Bush had Cheney, and then he made him vice president. He had several chief of staffs. So I think she's leaving soon. But she said that he was a cynical. She quoted J.D. Vance as saying he's America's Hitler. J.D. called the president a cynical a-hole, a personal idiot. And then Susie said his conversion came when he was running for the Senate. And I think his conversion was a little more sort of political. You think? He called him America's Hitler. And that just goes to show you what I always say. Trump has no compass. He really doesn't. He's not a conservative. He's not a moderate. He's not a liberal. He's Donald Trump. He makes his own rules. He accepts his own people. You can talk smack about him one day, but as long as you come back and kiss the ring, if Marjorie Taylor Greene came out today and said, I've been wrong, the president is great, he would embrace her once again. He really would. He has no compass. It's all about come serve me. And if you serve me and you're loyal to me, you're in and you're good. Meantime, the White House is saying that they took it out of context and this and that. And I thought it made Wiles look good. She's, from what everyone says, is the most respected member of the cabinet. She's the most sane member of the cabinet. And the biggest headline that she got out of Trump was that she called him, he said that, the president does not drink, has never had a cocktail in his life. He had a brother who I think died from alcoholism. And I've always said children that grow up around alcoholics either follow in that footsteps or they don't drink at all. They don't even mess with it. And the worst thing she said about him was that he had an alcoholic personality, which means you're kind of the bull in the china shop and you want what you want and you're going to get it done one way or the other. And the president was like, she's right. She's right. And it comes from experience because, as we talked about a little bit yesterday, the great late Pat Summerall was her father, the CBS legendary football announcer with John Madden. As we talked about yesterday, we got into a debate with a texter who said I was wrong to call him one of the best because Vinny was the best, but he did the Masters for years for CBS. He did U.S. Open tennis for CBS. He's a former New York football giant. He played with Frank Gifford back in the day. He was a field goal kicker, and he was a raging alcoholic. You've heard me tell the story completely before we even knew Susie Wiles was his daughter, that I was in Hartfield International Airport is a gargantuan airport. Gargantuan. It's the busiest in the world. I think Denver's new airport that's outside of Denver, Denver International, is the largest, but it's pretty damn big. And then it's what are called concourses, A, B, C, and D. And the concourses alone are as large as some airports. One concourse A in Atlanta is bigger than our airport by far. And there are 4 of them. And I'm like in concourse C, sitting in a bar in the late 80s, and Summerall walks in and the bartender starts making his drink. Hey, Pat, and puts his vodka on the rocks on the table before he even says anything. And that's when I was like, man, wow. And so that was the biggest insult to the president. He didn't have a problem with it. Meantime, Chris Whipple was on with Abby Phillip. Abby Phillip wasn't hosting, but it was her show last night. And he says, I stand by my story.
They're not contesting any of the substance of the piece because they know it's true.
Is that because you recorded the interview?
And every interview was recorded. Everything is on tape. And so they know that they just can't go there.
Yeah, they can't say he's lying. They can't say she didn't say it. He's got it on tape. And if he's hoping, as a reporter, when you've got it recorded or you've got great notes, you want somebody to challenge your integrity. And oftentimes in the print industry, particularly if you're a young reporter, an editor will go over your notes. Let me see what they said. It's an insult to a veteran reporter, but that happened to me when I was working at the Sentinel, where I would come up with these great stories and Betty would be like, really? He said this? I'm like, yeah, it's exactly what he said. And she'd be like, let me hear it. Because by my first year in newspaper, this is in the 80s, I was using a recorder. And she was like, let me hear it. And I'd play it. She's like, damn, run it. Let's go. But it's an interesting story. But I don't think it's any damage to the party. A little damage to JD, who obviously has some problems with chief of staff. But that's why I'm pulling for Marco Rubio to be the 29 president, the 28 nominee. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, talk a little bit more about the Trump administration and tonight's speech. Again, the president addressing the nation. This is not his wheelhouse. Sitting down in front of a camera the way JFK would do and the way Nixon and Johnson. He is much better in an open forum discussion with reporters and giving and taking, and he can be funny and whatnot, but this is a sit-down address, which is rare when there is not something gargantuan going on. When I mentioned Kennedy, I was thinking of when he had to address the nation and announce the Cuban Missile Crisis, that there were missiles in Cuba 90 miles off of our coast. The Kennedy administration used this when George Wallace tried to prevent black students from entering the University of Alabama, and it looked like the president would have to use National Guardsmen to get them registered. It's normally large events like that, but I think the Republican Party, as I've been warning over the last week or so, has kind of woken up and seen those victories that we talked about in New Jersey and in Virginia, the Miami mayor, a Democrat getting elected for the first time in 25, 30 years. They're starting to wake up that it's slipping away, and we've got to go to the big fella. Quick timeout. More TRBS on a Wednesday, a much warmer Wednesday. Isn't it amazing how much warmer it is when the sun comes out? You can almost stick it in the ground on a day like today. Quick break. It's TRBS, News Talk 96.1, AM 1180, KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180, KERN. Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, it's Thursday. That means burritos and also Dr. Corey Gonzalez. But let's be honest, mostly burritos. And we'll back all of that goodness up with news and traffic and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1. And we're streaming live on the World Wide Web at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180, KERN.
One of the highlights of this radio broadcast appears on Thursdays at 4:30. Our money man, Daniel Petrie with Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. You all know by now what Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors are all about. You know that I've turned on staff members who are extremely happy with being a client with Daniel. And I've told you, I've been a client for almost a decade now, and it is the single most important and smartest financial move I have ever made. If you're staring at retirement late in life and you're in the fourth quarter, call Daniel at 395-9400, 395-9400. Just keep it locked. Tune in every Thursday at 4:30 when it appears on the broadcast. Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only. Does not constitute a solicitation or offer to buy or sell any security, future, option, or other financial instrument, or to offer or provide any investment advisory or other services to any person in any jurisdiction by Daniel Petrie or MPWA, DBA, Messmaker, and Petrie Wealth Advisors. Any views expressed in this broadcast by us are prepared based upon the information available to us at the time, and we are under no obligation to update our views.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Vance Furtado.
Hi, my name is Vance Furtado, and I saw Paul Sheldon's advertising, and my wife and I were going to need to begin Medicare very soon, and we thought he would be a great guy to talk to. And we were not disappointed. He and his staff were excellent. They provided much needed guidance for us, and we would recommend Paul Sheldon and his agency to anyone desiring help when it comes to figuring out the confusing world of Medicare. Medicare can be so terribly confusing. That's why my wife and I were so glad that we went to Paul Sheldon. He and his staff were incredibly helpful to us. So I would recommend Paul and his agency to anyone. Thank you, Paul, for all the help that you provided, giving us an excellent sense and direction of how best to satisfy our needs when it comes to Medicare.
When Medicare matters,
Got anything?
our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
Got battery issues? Choose the #1 name in power, A1 Battery. We've got you covered with top quality batteries for every need. Cars, scooters, motorhomes, garage door openers, key fobs, golf carts, home alarm systems, wheelchairs, and so much more. If it takes a battery, A1 Battery has it. With multiple locations to serve you. Enjoy free diagnostics on batteries, starters, alternators, and electrical systems. Plus, get free installation with any purchase. First Friday of each month is free Key Fob Battery Friday. Family owned and operated since 1960. A1 Battery has been providing reliable, friendly service to Kern County. Need us in a pinch? We offer emergency services to make sure you're never stranded. Tell us you heard it on the radio and get 10% off your purchase. Call A1 Battery today, 589-1433 for the location nearest you, or visit online at a1batterycompany.com. A1 Battery, powering your world, one battery at a time.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You guys have a tree?
Not at my apartment, no.
Not getting one?
Probably not. I usually don't.
I'm gonna get a little Charlie Brown tree.
Nice.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a legit, like, actual Charlie Brown tree if you want to buy that one.
What do you mean?
Like you know how the Charlie Brown Christmas tree was? Like, I was all dainty and, like, you know, it had leaning over with the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can buy it just like that.
Really?
Yeah. Lisa has one.
That's you.
In her office. Yeah. You can go check it out.
I think I might. What do you got on the board?
Dan Bongino announced today that he will resign from the FBI next month.
Told you. I did not know that. I did not see that. Did you see that? I didn't see that. Do we know that for a fact? Let's
find out.
Didn't last a year.
BBC.
Didn't last, huh?
The first thing from the BBC, Dan Bongino stepping down as FBI Deputy Director.
Didn't last a year. Didn't last a year. The political prophet.
Came out about an hour ago or 2 hours ago.
I mean, come on. Who else in local radio can tell you what's going to happen? I told you 3-4 months ago that he and Hegseth would not last the year. Hegseth is going to hang on. He'll be gone in a couple of months in the 26th. He stepped in it again. He's not releasing, not even to the full Congress and to the full Senate, the video of the second strike on the two men that were supposedly still engaged in the fight. When in fact, these guys were hanging on to an upside down boat that had just been exploded by the United States Army. I shouldn't laugh because this is our Secretary of Defense, but he's a joke. I'm sorry. I know I'm going to have to go at it. I'm going to have to wrestle with Howard about 5 minutes because he's a big fan. And I know many of you guys are a big fan, but just saying, Bongino leaving is a big warning or omen, in my opinion, that this is that it's chaos over there. That the two of them have no idea. He and Cash have no idea what they're doing, and Pete Hegseth is next. I don't think Patel's going anywhere, despite the fact that he stepped in it as well by announcing that they had, just like he did in the Charlie Kirk shooting, in the Brown shooting, he announced that they had somebody, that they had the guy. Well, they had a guy, but it wasn't the guy, and they had to let him go. And normally, that's why when you pick somebody up, until you absolutely file charges against him, hell, the LA DA wasn't even saying anything about Nick Reiner until they officially had the press conference and leveled the charges. And just I'll talk about that later. I heard Kayleigh McInerney saying something stupid, which is incredibly rare because she's incredibly intelligent. She's the beautiful blonde who was Trump's press secretary in Trump 1. And they were talking about Reiner and the judge. Reiner showed up in court today, Nick Reiner, the alleged killer of his two parents, Rob and Michelle. And they were talking about the fact that Alan Jackson, who is one of the best defense attorneys in the country, he's recently got Karen Reed off in the police death of her boyfriend. And he's represented Harvey Weinstein and Kevin Spacey. And he's famous for winning unwinnable cases. And even he's talked about what's going on and the prejudicial effect of having my client come in chains and in an orange jumpsuit. So Jackson got the judge this morning not to allow, that's a split infinitive. No, it's not. I do that right. Not to allow the media to shoot Nick Reiner in his jumpsuit. And he was in a suicide jacket. I don't know if that means a straight jacket or what, and I was like, that makes sense. And Kayleigh McEnroe was like, that's so frustrating. I was upset that they let Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk's killer, come into court in dress clothes, and they get the Luigi Mangione looking like a college kid coming into court. And I'm like, Kayleigh, they have a presumption of innocence. Now, we all know all three of those people that I just named, Nick Reiner, Tyler Robinson, and Luigi Mangione, are all guilty as hell, but it's still America. He still has a presumption of innocence. And I'm pretty sure Kayleigh McEnroe is an attorney. That's what makes it even more puzzling that anything stupid would come out of her pile, because, again, I'm a huge fan, and she's incredibly bright. But to say that, yeah, we deserve to see him in a jumpsuit? Hell, Mangione hasn't even gone to his preliminary hearing yet. I don't think Robinson has either. Oh, well. We head into the 4 o'clock hour with our former federal agent, Howard Marcus. Bottom of the hour, we'll talk more about the Tehachapi PE teacher. It's happened again. I'm suggesting lie detector test for teachers. If you can drug test somebody and make that part of being hired, why can't you lie detect them?
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump paid his respects during the return of 3 Americans who were killed in Syria over the weekend. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
The president stood on the tarmac at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware for the dignified transfer of 2 Iowa National Guard members and a U.S. civilian interpreter. The commander-in-chief was joined by his Pentagon chief and other dignitaries for the solemn ritual. The president met privately with grieving families before the transfer cases draped with the American flag that hold the soldiers' remains were carried off the C-17 military aircraft.
The horn playing Snoopy.
Greg Clugston, the White House.
The Senate has given final passage
$39
to an annual military policy bill that will authorize $901 billion in defense programs. Military affairs analyst retired Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis tells Salem Radio the U.S. must boost its military spending to counter increased international threats.
We're fighting on 3 fronts: China, Russia, and ongoing Middle East threats. The priorities in the president's new national security strategy: nuclear modernization, a must, given what China is doing; advanced munitions, shipbuilding, AI-enabled defense capabilities, missile defense, and, of course, the hardening of the Pacific posture to counter the Chinese aggression.
The annual National Defense Authorization Act also raises troop pay by 3.8%. A federal appeals court says the National Guard deployment in the nation's capital can continue for now. The decision Wednesday stays a lower court ruling that had ordered an end to the troops' presence. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 228 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
This message is for anyone looking for $500,000 to $1 million or more of affordable term life insurance, even if you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or taking anxiety meds. Here's an example. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe overweight with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost about $200 a month. We're Term Provider, experts in finding affordable term life insurance for those that may not be in perfect health. If you've had prostate cancer, heart conditions, high cholesterol, or on prescription prescription medications, you may still qualify for $500,000 to $1 million or more of affordable term life insurance. Get a quick quote by calling Term Provider at 800-555-2085. 800-555-2085. If you're looking for term life insurance but have type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, or have other health issues, call Term Provider at 800-555-2085 or visit termprovider.com. Termprovider.com.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KE.
The new police stations are on the way. I'm Chris Davis. Well, groundbreaking ceremony for the stations that are going in McFarland.
He gets
the one in
back
Shafter will
into
be
it.
both a police substation and a library, and $6 million has been put aside to pay for it. The one in McFarland will be a police station and a community center for about $5 million. That gets that police department out of City Hall and into their own space. A gym teacher in Tehachapi is in a load of trouble after being arrested Tuesday, charged with both touching students inappropriately and possession and distribution of child pornography.
I also said
Police say 43-year-old Timothy Seaman was the subject of at least 2 complaints about being handsy with underage people. And when they searched his phone, they say that's where the evidence of child pornography was found. He was arrested in Porterville. A man was hit by a big truck and killed in front of the 4 people who were in his car Monday afternoon, says the Highway Patrol. That happened on Highway 166 south of Maricopa and east of Soda Lake Road. That was about 4:15 p.m. The man had gotten out of the car to check on his tires and was about to get back in when he was hit. The driver of the truck wasn't hurt, and neither were any of the passengers, say officers. Getting a vehicle out of a canal can be a tough and a touchy job.
So you're right.
You're right. They probably will take it back. Pictures to their Facebook page of them pulling an SUV from a canal. They did not give the exact location, nor did they say how it got in there. What they did say, though, is that cars can leak gas, oil, and other liquids.
Who's taking over Charlie Kirk
that
show?
can be bad for the water.
Who's taking over Charlie Kirk show?
Careful. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news
JR
every half hour
knows.
and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think? This is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get a post like this. Little thing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
Yeah.
It's the...
It's whoever you said that you liked.
Huh?
It's whoever you said you would like, that from CNN, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I can't remember who it was.
Oh, it's a guy. I just can't remember who it was. Just said his name earlier in the show, too.
And that's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com.
Yeah.
Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Wednesday. Why does my teeth taste funky all of a sudden?
Your teeth? Your teeth.
Like the cup isn't clean or something.
Well, I mean,
what? I watch this cup every night. I don't know. 5:55 or 5:50, whatever our last break is. I go and wash the mug out, put it back. Ugh. I don't know what that was. Hour 2 of the broadcast. So this Wednesday, still got lots to do. We will talk about Nick Reiner's appearance in court today. You'll hear from his renowned attorney, Alan Jackson. By the way, we found out how Mr. Reiner is paying for Mr. Jackson, Alan Jackson, one of the best-known criminal defense attorneys in the country. Nick Reiner's worth $3 million. $3 million. Much of that, I bet, he gets from that movie that he made with his pop. I mean, you know, he's in the industry. And you can make one movie, and if it does fairly well, residuals and what you get on the back end, so to speak, if you get a piece of the pie, and since his dad made it, you would think he would get a piece of all the profits. That was probably part of his problem, that he had easy access to cash. I don't think he's worth that now, because my guess is, I don't know, most drug addicts who go off, it's about money and then being able to score. And I just don't think it's coincidence that shortly after this whole incident. He was found and arrested down in what is essentially the ghetto of LA, downtown LA, down there by SC and the Coliseum. In the meantime, it's a Wednesday. So when I told my mother I wanted to be Jewish. This is my favorite part. This is great. Hang on, Howard. Henry Winkler. Adam Sandler when he was actually funny. But it's Wednesday. We head up the hill and get our former federal agent, Howard Marcus. Was this a personal selection or did Chris venture out on his own?
No, that was my choice.
Nice choice. That's a great song. That's a great song.
Back when he was funny. I'm not a huge Adam Sandler fan, but
neither am I.
That was when he was very young on Saturday Night Live.
Yes, that's when he was funny. And that's when I discovered that James Caan was Jewish.
Oh, yeah.
I did not. I knew he was an Italian.
Very short.
But no, he's not.
Oh, yeah, really short.
No, he's really not.
He's like 5'5", 5'6", something like that.
James Caan?
Oh, yeah, look him up.
No, dude, I've met James Caan. I've been in the same room with James Caan.
James Caan's 5'9".
Yeah, he's not a short man. He's not,
I don't know.
and I think he's bigger than 5'9".
He looks short. I don't know.
Google says he's 5'9".
James Caan?
Hmm?
No, maybe he's wearing lifts because when I met him, he was as tall as I am, and I'm 5'11". He's not 5'9".
He's not real tall. 5'9" is not tall anymore.
No, that's why I said I don't think he's 5'9". I don't know what that. Where'd you get that? He's 5'9".
Google.
Gotta be. Well, Google never lies.
Exactly. What's on your mind on this Wednesday, Howard Marcus?
Well, it's kind of off subject, which is sad because how quickly our attention changes. But I watched the entire news conference from the Bondi shooting by the police chief and the head of the security and all that from the Australian government. And I watched the entire thing, and I was just dismayed and stunned. Not one mention of the ISIS flag in the car, that they were Muslim, they were jihadists, not one mention whatsoever. And all they did to call for, you saw the Australian Prime Minister, call for more gun control in an incredibly draconian system where you're only allowed to have like one firearm and one shotgun, and it takes years to get a permit. And their answer is to further restrict what happened. And of the firearms the guy had, he had 2 on his permit, and it's 5 or 6, I think it was. I can't remember if it was 5 or 6 illegal stolen firearms.
Yeah, it was father and son, right?
Yeah, father and son, 24 and I think 50. Just astounding. They refuse, regardless of these atrocities, to address the elephant in the room. Just refuse.
ISIS is still there.
Well, jihadist, Islamic fundamentalism.
Yeah.
And we have the same problem here. You accuse the Somalis of fraud, and all of a sudden you're a racist.
Right.
You can't. The fact that we took a community 30 years ago that shouldn't have come here to begin with, that don't refuse to assimilate, that are hostile to America, that are first loyalty, unfortunately, is still to Somalia, and they don't hide it. But the gun control issue is like, oh my God, really? You look at these kind of issues, and this is worldwide. This is outside the United States and a few other countries. This is not an uncommon phenomenon. Is that the answer is always restrict the civil rights of those that won't offend and won't be violent, and just wink and nod at the people that are invading your country.
Yeah.
And that are transforming your entire culture. England is lost. France is lost. I look at these kind of situations going, it's happening here. And I think Trump's trying to reverse it. I think there's a cultural change that needs to be done. that people are welcome here if they want to come here and become Americans, not hyphenated, not just a visitor, not a refugee, but actual Americans, and work to do so.
Yeah.
And we changed that policy. We used to have, I think it was done even under Clinton, where he waived the English requirement for people coming in to basically stack the voter rolls. And I know they've waived a lot of the citizenship requirements. It used to be the equivalent of about a 1950s high school civics exam. You had to take a test and study and all that. I'm not sure the requirements even met anymore.
And have you ever taken the test?
It's pretty hard. If I could do it, you have to be able to name the legislative, the three branches of government. You should be able to name your state senator, your congressman, and all that kind of things. The basic test is basically high school civics.
Yeah, I thought it was ridiculously easy. The one I took.
But if you're coming here, and you're not coming from a kind of a civic government like we have here, it's probably pretty foreign to you. But it's not hard, and we shouldn't have loosened the standards.
Yeah, I agree.
They've done so, and they need to stop this family reunification idea where once you come in, you bring in 47 relatives who aren't qualified to come here just because they're related to you.
Yeah. What's going on in Venezuela?
Well, right now they're doing what they should have done. They estimate there's 1,000 tankers and ships, what they call the shadow fleet, worldwide. And what's happening is it's fueling Russia and Venezuela's economy, and the major buyer is China.
Yeah.
And without getting completely off the deep end, we are at open war in a Cold War sense with China, and to deny that in any way, shape, or form, and you're rating Trump's government so far, I give him a failing grade on China. I do. The idea he's going to he announced he's going to have 600,000 Chinese visas given for students is absolutely insane. And the fact that we continue to try to cut deals because, much as I like Trump as far as his policies, this idea he is a businessman, and sometimes in an unfortunate way, the deal itself is more important to him, and sometimes in spite of the caution that we try to give him. You cannot cut a deal with Putin, and you cannot cut a deal with China.
No,
period.
I agree.
And he attempts continuously to do so. And I think that's going to be one of the major failings he's had. We are looking at the potentiality of an open conflict with either of those countries, and meanwhile we're supplying them with not only money in the way that we spend overseas as far as the trade balances, but at the same time we're allowed to acquire U.S. technology. If you look at the current fighters and tanks and ships that U.S. and Russia have, they are carbon copy clones of our technology. We allowed China through the past administrations to have generational leaps in technology.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we're pretending it's not happening. No, they just wanted to have a deal with us. No, they don't. They have no intention of doing so. They don't think in terms of 2-year election cycles and 4-year election cycles, multi-generational 100-year plans. And the Russians are the same way. Putin is a maniacal sociopath that has just announced, I just read it just today, has announced he's going to get what he wants, regain quote-unquote lost territory by either diplomatic or military means. In other words, if he doesn't get exactly what he wants, which is a dismemberment of Ukraine, he's not going to sign a deal.
Nope.
And not to acknowledge that open statement is a huge failure, much as I like Trump, on Trump's fault.
Yeah.
We should have already been shipping Tomahawk missiles to them. We should already Biden should not have, handcuffed Ukraine.
Not allowing them to attack on Russian soil. Which
the idea that if we do so, they're going to be upset.
Yeah. That policy I never understood.
And prolonged the war.
Yeah. And Putin thinks time is on his side, which it probably is.
If we don't do something different, it is. He's just grinding down Ukraine.
Yep.
They don't have the population basis.
No.
Europe is finally awakened to the fact, hey, we're next.
Well, that's
and now they're finally doing so. And that the deal Trump cut was a good deal in the sense that we're going to sell to Europe and they're going to give to Ukraine.
Well, that's
we're not having this huge hundreds of billions of just throwing money at basically a pit.
That's the lane he has to take, is to talk with France, Germany, the United Kingdom, and get them to get up off their arse and realize you're next. This could
NATO just announced that
slowly imitate World War II. It truly could.
It could be. The good news is the Eastern European countries bordering it, Poland, Hungary, Romania, who had the boot heel of the Russians on them, as opposed to France and England, who never had to worry about it. They get it. They're fully assimilated into NATO. Countries that have been under the shadow of Russia, like Finland, that's why they joined NATO. The countries that have to look over their shoulder because he's right next door, who got it. The problem is the rest of the much richer European countries like Germany and France have to really pony up.
Yep.
And I hope they do. But, it's time, the clock's ticking. And the thing with China, they don't hide what they're doing.
Nope.
Why are we pretending that they're anything else other than a hostile ally? Why are we still spending money with China? Why are we still, giving them these most favored nation deals, which, by the way, they still have with us. They have most favored nation status, which gives them an economic advantage in the trade.
We depend on them.
Yeah, we do. Well,
unfortunately.
In a way,
our
we do.
phones,
There's a lot of happen. Our rare earth minerals, production facilities, the shipbuilding,
the military,
things that you and I take for granted. For example, I didn't realize 90% of the solar panels are now coming out of China. You try and buy a water heater, silly as it sounds, they're all Chinese made now. We've allowed that to happen for stupid reasons like being able to buy essentially junk at Walmart.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. What do you expect him to say in about less than 2 hours?
He's going to talk about Venezuela, what an existential threat they are as a narco-terrorist state. He's going to justify I don't know if people have picked up on that. He's got a complete blockade now on Venezuela.
Yeah, we talked about that.
If that's successful, it's going to completely cripple the country. And what he's doing, which is what I like, he's seizing tankers of oil, and we're keeping the oil.
That's what I said. I said that is much more palatable than blowing up these idiot cocaine dealers.
Well, they can do that forever and not have an effect.
Exactly. Exactly.
You're actually taking out the tankers. And what he said
is gargantuan.
Well, he said, we're going to reclaim U.S. territory. People don't realize Venezuela nationalized U.S. companies that were doing business there. The only one that I know is still active there was Chevron has a deal where they do all the production and they give, I think it's 50% of the results to Venezuela in return for not being nationalized. So he's doing almost like a Teddy Roosevelt. He's protecting U.S. commercial interests. These aren't military interests. These are commercial interests where Venezuela's illegally expropriated U.S.-based companies' property.
Yep.
And that's part of the justification, which I have no problem with. It's a rogue state. They're funding narco-terrorism. They're funding gang terrorists. They're a funnel for all these things that we're having problems with. And they've been hostile to the United States for the last, 15, 20 years now. And they were one of the best countries in Central America. They were actually fairly prosperous. And it's just a wrecked state.
Do you believe Maduro will run like a thief? Because I think you will. I think in the coming months, he's going to grab up his dough and run for
He'll be in
Qatar
Russia or Cuba, something like that. Probably Cuba.
Yeah.
Make a run for Cuba. He's already asked for a way out. I don't know if you heard that. That was the phone conversation. He asked for basically let him go wherever he wants, and that was flatly said no. And I have no problem with that. I'm just going to guess Cuba.
Yeah.
They'll take him in with open arms because basically just to thumb the nose at us.
Yeah. I'll leave you with this on what I'm about to talk about. Jurors in Maya Hernandez's trial are stuck on the second-degree murder charge, as I predicted. How do you think this thing? And now the judge, Charles Bremer, the judge, is telling him to go back and deliberate more. How do you think that's going to come out?
I wonder if they can decide on a lesser charge of manslaughter.
They can, but they still have to deal with the second-degree charge.
Yeah,
and apparently they're split on that.
I would not be real surprised because murder implies there's some willful intent.
Right.
I think they come back with rejecting the second-degree murder and come back with a manslaughter conviction.
And I think I do too, and I've said that all week. And I think what is going to get them is, I bet half, if not 3/4 of that jurors didn't know that cars shut off with inactivity.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. I haven't done it.
Car shuts off and it overheats because it's been running the motor for an hour.
Yeah.
No, I think that's
I think that saves her neck.
I think that saves her. I think you're right. I think it's going to be manslaughter.
Yeah.
I think second-degree murder. Well, I think second-degree murder because the terminology implies something more than just an idiot woman.
Right.
That was self-absorbed and dumb.
20 years old.
Yeah.
She's seen in a graduation high school picture with her now 4 or 5-year-old, but the first child. What would you give her? If you were a one-man judge and jury, what kind of sentence would you give her?
5 to 10.
That's what I said. I'd give her 5 years. Chris said 18, and I think a lot of people on that jury would agree. I just think, she's 20 years old. Yeah. She's almost supposed to be stupid. certainly not that stupid and that irresponsible to leave a 2 and a 1 year old alone anywhere at any time.
Right.
But she's technically, by definition, stupid.
I give her 10 because she only does 5 under the state's good conduct. You do what it's called day for day. You give her 5, she's out in 2.5.
Yeah.
Time served. You give her 10, she's out in 5.
Yeah.
So I think 10 is more appropriate.
I lied. I'll leave you with this. We've got another story of a teacher. This is up in Tehachapi, touching and having child porn and bop, 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 bop. If we can drug test people, Howard, why can't we lie detect them?
I don't know. And to be honest, ever since To Catch a Predator series, don't these idiot teachers know eventually you're going to get caught? First of all,
No. Doesn't matter.
The kids talk sooner or later. Either they brag to their peers, or they confide in their parents, or it's on their phone. Not one of these people I know, really, that we really don't know, but they don't get away with it.
No, not they do for a while, but you're right. Inevitably, that child is going to crack. She's going to tell somebody, but it doesn't matter, Howard. That's the thing about pedophilia. It's like putting a fox in a chicken coop and telling him not to eat chickens. Like, good luck with that.
I don't know if you can do psychological profiling or stuff in every teacher. I mean, look, the teacher is super liberal and very powerful. I don't think it'll ever happen.
No, it'll never happen. That's why I asked why we can't. You ask 5 questions. Do you do drugs? Do you have any possession of kiddie porn? Do you have any sexual proclivity for children? And boom, 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 it's over. I had to take a drug test to be on television. I'd be or to work for the Californian.
Yeah.
But you're right. We'll never see it.
Well, it's a double standard. I mean, if you're a guy, you wink and nod when a hot teacher goes with a boy. You know what I'm saying? It is a double standard. And my old joke on that is, where were these teachers when I was in high school? That's kind of a standard joke. But the reality of it is, it's still a crime. It's different because we do have a societal difference on how we view who the victim is, whether it's a boy or a girl.
It is. Let's be honest. I mean, it's a horrible thing to say because it is a crime. But for a 15 or 16-year-old, that's a John Hughes movie.
Well, there's a Saturday Night Live episode of that where basically the father's high-fiving the kid.
Yeah, I mean,
who'd you tell? The kid says, everybody.
It's a teenager's dream, if you want to know the truth. It really is. As crazy as that sounds. Always good to talk to you, Howard. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
All right, sir. Talk to you.
All right, take care. Howard Marcus. Not a lot of time. We come back. We'll get into the last half hour, the 4 o'clock hour. It's TRBS on a Wednesday. Don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Thursday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. We will head you closer into the weekend as we will be 1 week exactly away from Christmas. We'll have some fun with all of that. We'll talk with Roma Darabi, who is at the Kennedy Center, and we'll talk with Jonathan Alpert. All that and more Thursday edition coming with us on Clay and Buck.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
This is your intrepid news reporter, Scoop Newsman, coming to you live from a helicopter high above the historic Santa Margarita Ranch. From this break reporter's lofty vantage point, I can see preparations are continuing for the return of the Jingle Bell Express that will whisk passengers to Santa's Village. Reports are that the historic Jingle Bell Express will be pulling amongst their cadre of rolling stock, genuine original Disney train cars. Once you arrive, kids and adults will be entertained like never before, with a mystic magic show, a charming Christmas market, adorable pony rides, and more food, fun, and frivolity than ever. The Jingle Bell Express will be arriving at the historic Santa Margarita Ranch November 28th and running until December 21st. But get your tickets now. This reporter also has a source deep inside Santa's Village that has confirmed that if your plans change, your tickets can change too, from now until November. So make sure you reserve your seats on the Jingle Bell Express by going to christmas@themargarita.com before the Christmas train passes you by.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. $5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to...
jury has adjourned for the day. They will come back tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
Use promo code PIPE to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PIPE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code.
Nothing that you already don't know. If you go to KGET, they have an update line.
Days at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1.
Actually, if you just look up Maya Hernandez at first.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go. Take a look in the 5 and 10, glistening.
Played basketball with his grandson
Candy canes in Silver Lane
from the first family. Mr. Crosby had two families. He married young and had the three boys who were like hellions. And Crosby was old school. And Gary Crosby, who old folks might remember from a lot of the Elvis movies, he was always one of the guys in the band. You know, Elvis always had like a 3-man band, and they were like Clam Bake and like the racing movies, and the movie where he has to babysit Shelley Fabre on spring break. I forget what that was called, but Gary Crosby was always one of the three guys in the band, and he wrote a book about his experience growing up with Bing Crosby, and the Bing beat the crap out of him. Then he married Catherine and had the second group of kids, which he didn't beat and didn't drink as much. And one of the daughters became an actress. She was the woman that shot JR. Not Flores, Ewing. In the famous summer where we were all, who shot JR? And Harry became the U.S. amateur champion in golf. Mr. Crosby was a huge golfer. In fact, he died walking off a golf course in Spain. We'll talk about Maya Hernandez when we get back.
Soon the bells will start.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Donald Trump plans to give a preview of his 2026 agenda in a speech at the White House tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. That's about 90 minutes from now. Nick Reiner's son of Rob Reiner appeared in court as he faces charges of first-degree murder in the killing of his parents, actor-director Rob Reiner, and his wife, Michelle. The 32-year-old did not enter a plea as he appeared Wednesday from behind the glass wall of a custody area. He was in shackles and wearing a jail suicide prevention center smock. A federal appeals court says the National Guard deployment in the nation's capital can continue for now. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 228 points. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. A gym teacher with the Tehachapi Unified District has been arrested, charged with at least 2 incidents of inappropriately touching students, and police say when his phone and devices were searched, they found evidence of child pornography. 43-year-old Timothy Seaman was arrested Tuesday. Construction has begun on 2 new police stations. One of those is a substation and library in Shafter. The other will be a police station and a community center in McFarland. A groundbreaking ceremony was held Tuesday for each. A new county council has been appointed for the Kern County Board of Supervisors. Kendra Graham has been working in that office for the past 20 years. Her first day as county council will be December 27th. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Are the rising waters of expenses and debt threatening to drown you? Many people try to stay afloat by borrowing more money or using debt settlement programs, but those can take years. If you're trapped under credit card debt, medical bills, payday loans, or buy now, pay later plans, Chapter 7 bankruptcy could free you much sooner, in about 4 months and for a fraction of the cost. Stop the harassing calls and letters, rebuild your credit quickly, and clear the way for a fresh start. At Clean Slate BK Group, consumer Chapter 7 bankruptcies are all we do. We can help you erase credit card debt, medical bills, personal loans, even past due utility bills. Find out if you qualify at no cost and with no obligation. Go to csbk.com. This is an attorney advertisement. Your results may vary, and prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome. Clean Slate BK Group PC, located at 7 Penn Plaza, Suite 601, New York, 10001, is responsible for the content of this ad. For more information, visit csbk.com. That's csbk.com. Your clean slate starts here.
On the next Armstrong and Getty show, we've been looking into this dynamic pricing thing where businesses can change prices moment by moment or customer by customer. It's way more widespread than we thought.
So we're going to wrap up our raising money for scouting, and we got some pretty fun motivators for you. It's going to be a very fun show. The next Armstrong and Getty show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The Armstrong and Getty Show. Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
It was December 24th when Hollis Avenue at the dark. When I see the man chilling with his dog at the park, I approached him very slowly with my heart full of fear. Looked at his dog, oh my God, oh yeah. But then I was really cool, the man had a beard and a bag full of goodies, 12 o'clock at night. So I turned my head a second and the man was gone. Putting up the drop his wallet back down on the lawn. I picked the wallet up and then I took off board. Took out the lights and then it called said Santa Claus.
The part that I miss the food and the restaurants are
but I never feel for Santa. But that ain't right. Going home to mail back to him that night. But when I got home, I thought, cause under the tree was a letter from Santa and it goes to It's Christmas time in Hollis, Queens. Mom's cooking chicken and collard greens, rice and stuffing macaroni and cheese, and Santa put gifts under Christmas trees. Decorate the house with lights at night. Snow's on the ground, Snow White so bright. In the fireplace is the Yule log. Beneath the mistletoe, as we drink eggnog. The rhymes that you hear are the rhymes of carols. Like each and every year we bust Christmas carols.
Yeah, did the man from last night? Santa, Mason.
Run.
Let's go eat. Hold on.
We've got some breaking news in the Maya Hernandez case. The jury, as Chris, or maybe you were telling me personally, has ended deliberations for the day, but I'm reading from KGT. Jurors in the trial of Visalia woman who left her children in a car for hours in June, resulting in the death of her 1-year-old son, sent a note just before noon saying they couldn't reach a verdict on the count of second-degree murder. Judge Charles M. Bremer told them to continue deliberating. The jury, which received the case Tuesday afternoon, must decide whether the actions of 20-year-old Maya Hernandez rose to the level of second-degree murder. At issue, whether she knew beforehand leaving the children was dangerous. Hernandez testified she didn't realize that until after the fact. Shortly after the incident, however, Hernandez told police she'd heard radio ads about how children should never be left in a hot car. Radio works. Just saying. Radio works. Hernandez said she left her 2 young sons with bottles of milk and snacks in her 2022 Toyota Corolla Hybrid on the afternoon of June 29th, then entered a medical spa on South Real Road for a cosmetic procedure. She had a Brazilian butt lift. So a lot of these booties we're looking at are fake. That is so disappointing.
Well, I mean, I knew that, but to be fair,
we're an adult show.
Yeah.
Have you ever dated anybody with fake booty?
No.
I was going to ask you, how does it feel? Does it feel real, or is it?
I
just
couldn't
fat?
tell you.
I don't think I have either.
Anybody can. Feel free to call.
Yes. What does a fake booty feel like? I mean, is it like, like some fake breasts are kind of hard and some are kind of soft? They're different. They really are. And I've never, didn't we had a booty making machine over here in our complex for a little while. Remember?
I think
And remember the girl that ran the place was not only a proprietor, but a patient apparently, because she was the highlight of my day with her big old dump truck. Good goo. You remember who I'm talking about?
I think I do. As I'm trying to wrap my head around it, I think I
way
remember.
over there. And
Well, because we have a lip filler place still right here.
that's where the booty machine thing was.
Right, but I don't know if they do that anymore.
No, they don't do the booty. She and that company went
Because
out, and then the lip people came in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So somebody in the complex frequents that place quite often from when me and JR have noticed. And yeah.
Oh, really? You can tell?
Well, not necessarily, but we see her walk to and from her office in the place.
Looking like
It's
that.
not somebody that works here, though. I can tell you that right now.
No. But does she look like Daffy Duck?
Not really.
Well, who told women that was attractive? You know what they're doing, don't you? Stealing from black women. Just saying. Started with Bo Derek. Where if you were a sister wearing braids, you were ghetto. Bo Derek put braids in her hair. They called her a Ted. Just saying. What do women do during the summer? Try to get black. Just saying. They don't want to be white. They want to be brown. Just saying. And now they're culturally cultivating black booties. I'm sorry. I thought I could get through that with a straight face. I'm sorry. Back to Maya Hernandez. I'm sorry. Hernandez said she left her two young sons with bottles of milk and snacks in her 2022 Toyota Corolla hybrid on the afternoon of June 29th, then entered a medical spa on South Real Road for a cosmetic procedure. She said she left the car on and the AC running. That vehicle model shuts off after an hour if no action is taken, something Hernandez said she did not know. Between the wait time and the actual procedure, a liquid resilient butt lift, she was gone about 2.5 hours. What? You're getting a butt lift at 20? At 20? Like, have you heard of squats? I don't know. Just these kids at 20 years old redoing their body.
It's easier to go get the procedure than to actually go to the gym and work out. Yeah.
And I guess if you're having children at like 17, 18,
yeah,
Well,
I mean, again,
your body is more like 30 than it is 20, I guess. I don't know. Ladies, you want to chime in on this? Help us out. Two stupid males that have absolutely no idea what they're talking about.
I mean, fair.
Anybody?
I've always
Barbara, Stella, Mary, Sandy, Cindy. Anybody? Is this on? Anybody? Are there females? I've looked at the numbers. We do have women listening to the broadcast. In fact, I do pretty well with women 35 plus. So feel free to chime in, 842-5376, 842-KERN. When she returned to the car, 1-year-old Emilio was unresponsive and 2-year-old Mateo red and covered in sweat. Emilio was taken to a hospital where he was pronounced dead after being worked on for 40 minutes. His temperature upon arrival measured at 107.2 degrees. Oh, what a way to die. What a way to die. Mateo survived. Medical staff attributed that to his more developed sweat glands, allowing him to better regulate body temperature. Assistant Public Defender Terrell Wakeman has conceded the other charges against Hernandez, involuntary manslaughter and child endangerment, saying what she did was clearly negligent. In fact, we have audio from Mr. Wakeman, who basically admitted her irresponsibility.
She was reckless. She was reckless to trust the machine. That's it. Conscious disregard has not been proven beyond a reasonable doubt in this case.
I think he's right. And I think that's why they are stuck on that one charge. As I told you, I did not think that they could get a conviction on that charge. I still don't think they will. I don't know how further deliberation helps a jury that is that deadlocked. Now, for them to send a note at noon today, what have they had the case since Tuesday? They got the case because those closing arguments are from yesterday or from Monday.
Oh, it was yesterday.
It was yesterday?
It was yesterday.
So they've had the case for less than a day. That's why I keep calling him Chip. That's his nickname. Judge Bremer is saying, no, go back and try to figure this thing out. I'm not sure they can or they will. How would you get her on second degree?
I don't think you can.
I don't think you can either.
Because again, it's all about the technicality of the murder part of it and the degrees. Because obviously we know first degree is premeditated, second degree is accidental. But this, it's like you've said many times, she didn't want the kids to die. She didn't leave them out there in the purpose of them dying.
No, she didn't wake up that day and say, I want to get rid of my 1-year-old.
Right. It was a mistake. It was a mishap. Like the lawyer says, she may have mitigated some risks, but didn't realize there were others.
And hey, involuntary manslaughter is no slap on the wrist.
No.
I mean, it's involved. I mean, she could get 10 to 15 years. I suspect because of her age, a judge will be lenient on the number of years that she gets.
Probably.
I think, like I said, I think 5 years is sufficient, but we'll see what happens. What the hell do I know? Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll come back. We'll check the board. And we'll talk about Dr. Mark Chavez, who got sentenced in the Matthew Perry ketamine overdose. Talk about slap on the wrist. We'll get into that just a little bit. We'll talk a little bit about Nick Reiner. We've got some audio from Alan Jackson, his attorney. They have put off his arraignment. You'll hear from the defense. And you've got till what, 8 o'clock tonight to buy your Powerball? How much are Powerballs?
$2 a ticket, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that right?
That's what JR told me the other day, was he paid $2 a piece for his 5 numbers, so $10 total.
I'm going to spend $20. I'm going to walk up to the Arco. I've given it enough time since I humiliated myself in front of their store.
I'm just saying.
I've been there once since that incident. But I'm going to go in tonight. I think I'm going to do Subway for dinner. I'm going to have a chicken sandwich for dinner. And then I'm going to walk up to Arco, get my $20 worth of tickets. Pray to the heavens. Wouldn't that be something?
God, I would love to win, but I know I'm like you. What the heck would I even do with that much money? I mean, I know what I would do with it, but let's be honest, I'd probably blow it just like everything else.
Well, it's pretty hard to blow $500 million.
True. Very true.
$1 million? Oh,
you could blow through
that. You could blow that in 6 months. You could blow through that in 6 months. But when you get into the hundreds of millions, hell, you could put 25 in the bank and live off the interest. Quick timeout. We're coming right back. It's TRBS on a Wednesday on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, it's Thursday. That means burritos and also Dr. Corey Gonzalez. To be honest, and we'll back all of that goodness
What
up
now?
with news and traffic and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m.
What would
right
you
here at
give
News
her?
Talk 96.1, and we're streaming live on the World Wide Web at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1
That's
and
what I'm
AM 1180 KERN.
I'm here with Dr. Tarkesh from Affordable Dentures and Implants. Doc, people often
I'd give
think
her
dental
5
implants
years.
are a one-size-fits-all solution.
That's more than most
How is
drug drivers
Affordable
are going
Dentures
to
and
get.
Implants different than that?
That's a great question.
We know every patient is unique and
At
each person
16,
has their
17.
own specific needs. So we create a personalized treatment plan designed just for them.
Wow. And what makes your process stand apart from the other places?
Well, we offer advanced digital
My
dentistry.
parents had me when I was
design
they were 20.
and create custom solutions. And with our on-site lab, we can offer
They never left
same-day
me in a
teeth
car.
for many patients. No waiting for weeks.
So what'd you give her? What would you give her?
Same day teeth? Now that's impressive.
Yeah.
If you're ready to get started on your new smile today, go see Dr. Tarkesh and his
Really?
amazing team at Affordable Dentures and Implants.
That's what I
on the
said.
corner
I
of
said, a
Trumpston
lot of
and
you
Coffee,
thinking that-
next to Nothing But Cake. Call 831-7230 to schedule
what I said.
your
I don't know whether
appointment
they have the
today.
same dads or
Jingle bells
both the
are
boys
ringing,
had
and
the Gutierrez.
you still need gifts for everyone on your
Gutierrez.
list. Take a deep breath. Your holiday hero is here, the gift card. For nearly 20 years, it's been the most requested gift on wish lists everywhere. Why? Because it's the one present that's always the right size, always the right color, and never needs returning. No more gift-giving guesswork. No more, oh, it's interesting moments. With a gift card, you're giving the joy of choice wrapped up with a bow. Make it magical with festive packaging that sparkles, cards that play holiday tunes, or animated designs that dance. Add your personal message, and suddenly it's not just a card, it's a celebration in an envelope. Your budget stays merry too. Set your amount, stick to it, and maybe even score.
Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KER.
Our associate producer, I was going to wait till she got back to her desk so she could hear us talk about her. But our associate producer, Lisa.
Did you leave the mic on?
Yeah, I turned it back on.
Okay.
Did I? Yeah. Just read me the riot act on my 5-year sentencing of Maya Hernandez.
Well, and she brings up an interesting point that a texter had brought up as well, which is the whole DUI thing. You get in a DUI accident and kill somebody, you get 4 to 5 years. Like, it, you know, is this not kind of the same? Or obviously, it's different because a DUI driver is intentionally driving drunk, but we see that as an accident. So, like, how does this, you know, compare?
Well, I think that supports my theory that she only deserves 4 or 5 years.
Right.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what Bremer gives her. I'm not even sure. Will it be Bremer or the jury that will decide? Lumpy, are you out there? Will it be Bremer that'll determine? It'll be the Bremer. It'll be the judge that determines her sentence. 842-5376, 842-KERN. And I was going to do something before the 5 o'clock hour, and I cannot remember. So let's read a couple of text messages until I remember.
Involuntary manslaughter carries a criminal exposure of 2, 3, or 4 years in California. So max sentence for that charge on its own is 4 years.
There you go. and they'll probably add on another 2 for the child cruelty. She does 6-7 years. She comes out. She's 27 years old. Hopefully, she's taken some parental courses and matured. I don't know if you can really mature in jail or prison. I've always believed that there's no such thing as rehabilitation, particularly on the men's side, where I think you just get harder, more bitter, and savvier. You're hanging around with nothing but criminals, and all they do is talk about their past crimes. I know that for a fact because in 2006, when I did my work release out at the fairgrounds, 15 weekends in the middle of the summer to keep my behind out of jail, when we would have breaks, all the fellows would talk about, and I had really nothing to talk about because I didn't really have a long experience with the police, but all they would talk about is how they got arrested and past arrests and things like that. So I can only imagine what it's like in prison. Now on the female side, I have no idea. I have no idea what goes on. I don't know if it's as harsh. I don't know if it's as gang related. I don't know if it's as segregated as it is on the men's side, but she definitely deserves prison time at that. I think she's definitely going to get it. I think, as we talked about, the PD, the public defender, has all but confessed the manslaughter charge and the child cruelty. But as we just talked about, the jury is stuck on whether to give her guilty on second-degree murder. 842-5376, 842-KERN. What do you got?
Jimbo has chimed in and says, I bet she gets probation for 5 years in community service.
No,
she's going to see time for it.
Somebody
least.
died. You got to go to prison. A child died. No, she's got to do some time. I mean, even if she gets 2 years, like I always try to compare it to my life. And the guy that sucker punched me and broke my jaw, hit me twice, I never fell. Very proud of that.
Great job, Muhammad.
Took 2 shots to the face. And I stood up and I grabbed a chair and damn near threw it at him, but I did not.
Could you imagine if you unloaded that chair?
I almost did. Go look at the video. Else. Go look at the video.
Oh, I know. I saw it.
Picked that thing up and I was like, I should just, because I wanted to just go tackle him. Well, like this, I wasn't really in the mood to go face to face with anybody, but I was going to throw that. Had it not been Cassie's restaurant, I would have thrown that chair. And thank God I didn't, because then I would have been in almost. But he got 2 years for hitting somebody in the face. So the sentencing, I've never understood. I really haven't. Where we've seen violent criminals get 2 or 3 years. So no, but she's going to prison. I don't think there's any question about that. I don't think. No, there's no question. She's going to prison. What else you got?
Someone has chimed in on what it feels like with fake, but
the fake booty. We got a fake booty update.
It's lumpy and unnatural, kind of like a balloon filled with cottage cheese.
Oh, that's what I thought.
No,
see, that was a legitimate question. I'm glad they said that. That was a legitimate question. That's disgusting. The whole thing about it. Okay,
surgery.
I might be going too far, but the whole niceness of a big old booty is that it's soft and it's real and it's firm and it's real and it's firm and But what? Read the description again.
Hey, they said it's like,
hey, I hate cottage cheese, so just the name just makes me wince.
It's just a balloon filled with cottage cheese, is what they're saying.
Oh, that's disgusting. Ugh, fun to look at though. Is it all dimply? Does it look like cottage cheese?
Oh God!
You know what I'm saying? I wonder what it looks like.
I know exactly what you're in. No,
have those dimples that big fat girls have?
Mm-hmm.
Yeesh. I just.
Before we get too far into this, this next one says, "I named my son Emilio after Emilio Estevez in the Mighty Ducks movie."
Her boy is Emilio, Amillio. Emilio Estevez, Martin Sheen's son, is Emilio. And what's Charlie's name?
It's Carlos.
Carlos. That's right. I've started watching because they started them back at the beginning. I started watching 2.5 Men again because after when he's dating Chloe, like the one girl he actually falls in love with, and then she boots him. I don't like that portion of the show. You know what I mean? I root for Charlie, and the one time he gets booted is when he's dating Chloe and she boots him for another dude. He introduces, they go to an attorney for something, and she falls in love with the attorney. A beautiful girl. But one more. Let's get into the 5.
Ralph and Chris, you two had me laughing about the booty lift and Daffy Duck.
That's what they look like. They look like a damn duck. Got the lips all pushed out, and they think it looks really, really attractive. Like, who told them that? Who said, yes, if you got big duck lips, that's really attractive? I'm telling you, the one thing that I've learned in my 6 decades of life, women don't dress up and put on makeup and do their hair and their nails for us. They really don't. They really, really don't. They do it for one another. That's what it's all about. It really is. And when they see one thing and one of their girlfriends are getting all kind of attention because her lips are all duck-lipped, they're like, ooh, let me jump in on this bandwagon. And the whole, man, I knew a waitress. She's a gorgeous girl, but she's had a couple of babies. And I don't know where they get this money, but she had the whole thing, Jack. She had the breast lift, she had the tummy tuck, and she had the booty expansion, all in one fell swoop. And I guess, and I used to laugh because I've known some older men, I'm not going to name any names, Richard Bean, who have had surgery on their eyes and stuff. And now I'm thinking about it. I really am. I'm thinking about maybe getting a little something done on my eyes. I'm definitely, Emil Cathry, if you see him, tell him I talked about him on the air, would give me my referral so I can get this unicorn off my head. This thing it's not getting bigger, but it certainly feels like it. I told you the story last time I played golf like 2 months ago. I'm walking down the fairway and I can see my silhouette and it's like, whoop, and I'm like, damn, I can see this thing in my shadow. And I was always thinking about maybe getting a little stretch, get rid of these jowls in here, you know what I'm saying? Maybe do a little something in here. You can't really do much with the neck. I can do the old woman thing and start wearing ascots, but that's about all you can do.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Ahead of tonight's primetime address to the nation, President Trump was asked what his message will be for the American people.
We inherited a mess, and we've done a great job, and we continue to. And our country is going to be stronger than ever before very soon.
The White House says the president will highlight his accomplishments over the past year and look ahead to the rest of his second term. The speech begins at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. 4 Republican lawmakers have joined Democrats to force a vote on extending Obamacare subsidies.
The stunning move came after GOP leadership announced there wouldn't be an up or down House vote on the ACA tax credits that expire in 2 weeks. The 4 moderate Republicans broke with House-led petition that will force a House vote on extending the subsidies for 3 years as early as January. The 4 GOP lawmakers say their constituents need the extension to offset soaring monthly premiums. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Russia's president offers a threat.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned Moscow will seek to extend its gains in Ukraine if Kyiv and its Western allies reject the Kremlin's demands in peace talks. Speaking at an annual meeting with top military officials, Putin says Moscow would prefer to achieve its goals and eliminate the root causes of the conflict by diplomatic means. But he adds, if the opposing side and its foreign refuse to engage in substantive dialogue, Russia will achieve the liberation of its historical lands by military means. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
On Wall Street, the Dow down by 228 points, the Nasdaq dropped 418, the S&P lower by 79. More at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee, 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-822-1716. 800-822-1716. 800-822-1716.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
The new police stations are on the way. I'm Chris Davis. Well, they are now under construction after a groundbreaking ceremony for the stations that are going in McFarland and Shafter. The one in Shafter will be both a police substation and a library, and $6 million has been put aside to pay for it. The one in McFarland will be a police station and a community center for about $5 million. That gets that police department out of City Hall and into their own space. A gym teacher in Tehachapi is in a load of trouble after being arrested Tuesday, charged with both touching students inappropriately and possession and distribution of child pornography. Police say 43-year-old Timothy Seaman was the subject of at least 2 complaints about being handsy with underage people. And when they searched his phone, they say that's where the evidence of child pornography was found. He was arrested in Porterville. A man was hit by a big truck and killed in front of the 4 people who were in his car Monday afternoon, says the Highway Patrol. That happened on Highway 166 south of Maricopa and east of Soda Lake Road. That was about 4:15 p.m. The man had gotten out of the car to check on his tires and was about to get back in when he was hit. The driver of the truck wasn't hurt, and neither were any of the passengers, say officers. Getting a vehicle out of a canal can be a tough and a touchy job. Bakersfield Search and Rescue posted some pictures to their Facebook page of them pulling an SUV. Now, they did not give the exact location, nor did they say how it got in there. What they did say, though, is that cars can leak gas, oil, and other liquids, and that can be bad for the water. So they were extra careful. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
This is the Army where you shoot them a mile away. You got to get up close like this. Little bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make your call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Wednesday, 17th day of December. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com. We still got lots to do in our final hour. Still got some text messages we'll get to. Been kind of an uneven show today. We've gone from talking about the president's speech in less than an hour to butt filling and lip filling and stomach removals and things of that nature. I wouldn't mind. I got that little fat pod right here at the bottom of my waist that I would love to get sucked out. But you're right. I could knock it out with some sit-ups every day.
Go for a run for about 2 or 3 times a week. You'll be fine.
Oh, no, there'll be no running. There'll be no running. I'll do 10,000 steps. but there'll be no running. My knees just can't take it. My feet can't take it. There'll be no running. There'll be no running. But 26 is going to be I'm changing some things. I really am. I really am. I'm going to get my cardiovascular in shape. I don't know if I'm going to do in shape right here. Is it in shape that's right here?
Yes, in shape, yeah.
And the only reason I would consider doing that is because they have a pool.
Yes.
And I want to swim. I think swimming is the best exercise. Although I found out during the U.S. Open that the best exercise, and this is I'm also going to do, and I'm waiting for Scott Cox to give me my tennis racket, but I'm going to walk up to Jastrow Park and hit up against a wall. Did you know that according to the Tennis Association, and I looked it up, and we even asked Jeet Singh this, that tennis is the best recreational sport, that people that play tennis have a 9-year greater life expectancy than the rest of us. I was like, wow. I'd rather do that than play pickleball. I met someone today whose husband is like a almost pro pickleball player. And she was telling me that he's been on ESPN2 and he plays down by my house at the Racket Club. And she said he gets off from work and he plays 4, 5, 6 hours a night. It just doesn't look interesting to me. I played a lot of tennis as a young guy. I used to play with Todd Carley. I used to play with our weekend sports guy, Rich, and I can't remember Rich's last name, but he was a collegiate tennis player. And I think in the 8, 9 months we played tennis, I think the most games I ever won was maybe 3. And that was like a victory. Because like I couldn't even, if he went for the tee down the middle on my forehand side, I couldn't, it was just ace, or I'd trickle it off to the side. If he hit to my forehand side, I had a shot. I could either block it back, but, then it comes back,
It's a lob.
Yeah, and then he steps in, and the point is over, even if I return it. I could never get like a full swing on one of his serves. Never. It was either a block just to get it back or kind of a chip, and then the point was over because he comes in and smashes it in the left corner, and it's over. But it was fun playing somebody like that. But Todd Carley and I used to go at it. We never knew who would win. It was fun. And I played a lot of racquetball. That's how I used to get in shape when I was playing football when I was in high school. I used to go to the Fox Hills. It was a racquetball club, actually. Racquetball was big in the 70s and the 80s. It really was. This was a strict racquetball club. And I always laughed. There's one right over there by KBAK. Used to be a racquetball and handball deal, because I know Zucchini used to play a lot of handball. And I was involved in a weight program there for a little bit when I was a big fat tub. You got somebody?
We do. Daily Dave's on the line.
Dave, what's really going on?
Hey, how you been?
I'm well, sir. How are you?
Good, good. So, man, you would be a perfect person to play pickleball, because the people that play tennis are some of our best pickleball players.
Yeah, I would imagine, yeah.
Yes, and then the racquetball players, because of the speed of the ball in the confined area of the cube, it's that rubber bouncy ball and the little racket,
yeah,
the racquetball. Those guys come out there and they act like, and we hit the ball pretty quick, the pickleball, but to them, the racquetball guys is like, that's slow.
Yeah.
So,
and I was really, when I played tennis, I would try to serve and volley. I volley really well, so I think I would do well playing pickleball. Actually, I've got really good. My knees are shot to hell. That's why I can't do it. But I have really good.
My knees are shot. All you got to do is get some little stretchies and put a couple of little knee braces. You'll be fine. Maybe an ankle brace or two. You'll be fine. But if you do ever play, just play about 20 or 30 minutes the first time.
Yeah.
Because it's an easy thing to pick up. You'll leave it, like you don't want to play an hour or two and go, and the next day you won't be able to get out of bed.
Yeah, true that.
Yeah, but good. How's your mommy?
She's doing well. In fact, she called me this afternoon. I forgot to call her back.
See, now I called.
I was in a
called her
meeting.
back, and then
I'll call her tonight.
play golf last weekend.
The clubs are in the second bedroom, Dave.
You moved them in.
Yep. When we get into the 50s, I'm out. I think I could have played today, though. At least the sun was out. It was in the mid 50s.
Yeah.
But yeah,
once the car was 55, the sun came out in the afternoon. But who can tell with with our weather patterns?
Yeah, and I don't know if Mark and the boys are still playing at 7:30 in the morning, but there is no way in the world I'm going to stick in the ground when the temperature's in the 40s. That's just not happening.
I have a couple of pickleball buddies who still play golf once a week, and they've been teeing off at about 10:30, 11.
Yeah.
Getting in way before dark, and especially, sometimes at Kern River, the sun will come out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But today would have been a great day. How are your feet doing?
Good. I've been on the allopurinol since that last ridiculous 3-month bout. Haven't had a sign of any pain anywhere. I've been pretty good. It's really been good to be on the meds.
If I don't get a hold of you before the Christmas, have a Merry Christmas to all the listeners and your family. And be sure and call your mommy when you see her. Give her a big hug for me.
Yeah, I got to call her tonight. I will. Thank you. And Merry Christmas to you and a Happy New Year. I'm sure we'll talk before then, but if not, have a great holiday.
I'll try to chime in. Have a great one. Thank you.
All right, Dave. Take care, man. 842-5376, 842-KERN. I have time. Nick Reiner was in court today. You did not see him because, as we alluded to earlier in the broadcast, he was in a suicide jacket. I have absolutely no idea what that is. I'm assuming it's some sort of straight jacket. Plus, he was in an orange jumpsuit. And Alan Jackson is renowned attorney who has represented people like Weinstein and Kevin Spacey, and most recently, he got Karen Reed acquitted of murder, and he's renowned for winning unwinnable cases. Somehow, Nick Reiner has the money to quickly get him. Here's a question that I have that I can't believe this dawned on me days later. How did Rob and Michelle's blood end up in the hotel? So he had to have checked in before he murdered them, because he couldn't have murdered them and, look like OJ.
Yeah, walking up to the
exactly, checking in. Just ignore the blood on my hands. I'm checking in. My name's Nick Reiner. So he had to have checked in before, then went and killed his parents, and then came back. But how the hell do you even, if I whack you right now, I can't walk into my room at the Padre. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not the way the maids described the room, but the shower was filled with blood, the sheets, everything was blood. How the hell did he even get into the hotel all bloodied? And why is there, and we'll find this out during the preliminary hearing, there's got to be video of him walking to that room. This was a Santa Monica hotel. This wasn't, Skid Row. This was the Seaside or Pierside Santa Monica Hotel.
Yeah, but I don't know if these laws pertain to here, but I know in Vegas, most of their hotels don't have cameras past the elevators.
Right. You cannot. I told you that.
Yes.
I was when I found that out last time I went to Vegas.
Yeah.
You cannot put cameras in the hallways.
Right.
You can have them around the elevator. That's why we have video of P. Diddy beating up Cassie.
And Ray Rice and all those other people.
And Ray Rice, exactly. But you cannot have cameras in the hallways.
Right.
And I guess that's for privacy. You're making out with your wife at the door before you go into your hotel room. You don't want that on video.
So I'm wondering if it's the same thing in California. I'm not sure if it is, but
that's weird to me. But somehow he got the blood from Brentwood to Santa Monica, and nobody said a word. Nobody called the cops. The way the bodies were found, the daughter, we now know, lives across the street from the Reiners. She and a roommate, I think her name is Roma or Mona, Roma or Mona, one of the two, doesn't matter. The 28-year-old hottie, she's a beautiful woman. And she went in and found her father. This tells us a little bit more as well, which because it means they weren't killed in their sleep, because she found her father and quite naturally sprinted out of the house mortified. And then the fire department, as is the case in most situations, were the first on the scene. They called West LA police, and that it was West LA police that went in and then came back out and told her that her mother had died as well. But she didn't know at that point. She didn't find the mother's body. You imagine a 28-year-old, hell, you imagine a 63-year-old walking into a house and finding your father murdered. You're not going to be like, maybe I would, because I'm that kind of person. I would be curious, like, where's mom? And I would kind of search, but she didn't know the killer could still be in the house, and the panic that must have overtaken her. She just saw her dad. You know, imagine the blood that she saw. Like, you see these movies and you think you've seen blood, but I used to be a crime reporter, and when it's a mess. Sanguination is like cutting somebody's throat is like getting a bucket of paint, throwing red paint all over their body, basically. He was drenched in his own blood, and she ran out, and it was the LAPD that finally showed up after the West LA cops showed up and told her that her mother was murdered as well. And she was the one that told the cops, I'd look for my brother. He's dangerous. He really is. Meantime, here is the attorney representing Nick Reiner, Alan Jackson.
We ask that during this process, you allow the system to move forward in the way that it was designed to move forward, not with a rush to judgment, not with jumping to conclusions, but with restraint and with dignity and with the respect that this system and this process deserves and that the family deserves. So with that, we are set for January 7th for an arraignment. That's the next court date. And that's all I have to say at this point. There may be more at some other point, but today we're going to rest on where we stand procedurally, which is this was a continuance of arraignment. Nothing happened today substantively. We'll be back for an arraignment in the same department on the 7th of January. We'll see you then.
Which is good. I'm happy about that, not for any procedural purposes. I'm just tired of talking about it. It's good that we can put it to bed, and we'll start the new year discussing it, obviously. But we've got some important stuff coming up. This Friday, we'll find out about Miss Williams, the Mercedes driving two-time DUI offender, although technically she only has one DUI, the second one, because the first one hasn't been adjudicated. We'll find out her fate on Friday. And Zach Scrivener and Umberto Sala are due back in court on Friday as well. We'll come back, check the board, see what you all are talking about. Has anybody responded to our Q and the D? What kind of grade would you give the Trump administration after 1 year? I put up a C+. Mr. Burdick has been contemplating.
I'd probably go the same with you, C+.
Yeah.
C.
I want to hear from you guys. 842-5376, 842-KERN. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. And we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Thursday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. We will head you closer into the weekend as we will be 1 week exactly away from Christmas. We'll have some fun with all of that. We'll talk with Roma Darabi, who is at the Kennedy Center, and we'll talk with Jonathan Alpert. All that and more. Thursday edition. Come hang with us on Clay and Buck.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show. Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
It's that man again, Ralph Bailey for Sangera Subaru with an announcement. It's time again for the 2025 Subaru Share the Love event. Buy or lease a new Subaru through January 2nd, and a donation of $325 will be made by Subaru to your choice of 4 national charities like Make-A-Wish, Meals on Wheels, the ASPCA, and National Forest Service, or local charities Honor Flight Kern County, Global Family, and the Daughter Project. Right now at Sangera Subaru, you can lease a 2025 Outback Premium CVT for only $239 per month for 36 months and $4,800 due at signing. You get a new car plus donate to charity. It's an absolute win-win. Don't miss the Subaru Share the Love event going on now at Sangera Subaru in the Bakersfield Auto Mall.
Through January 2nd, 2026. Lease 2025 Outback Premium CVT model code SDD-11 for only $239 a month on a 36-month lease. $4,800 due at lease signing plus tax and license. Zero security deposit. 10,000-mile year limit. 15 cents per mile overage. MSRP $36,506. VIN number S3331256.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program may only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it could end your debt nightmare and save you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for. So don't wait. For this free information, call 800-422-8552. 800-422-8552. That's 800-422-8552. Not available in all states. Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day. No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care. Take a look our way and come into Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Pet stains on your carpet? Carpet Outlet Plus has everything you need to make your floors pet-proof. With over 100 in-stock waterproof floors, Carpet Outlet Plus can solve your pet problems for good. We also stock over 50 colors of pet-perfect carpet. Call, click, or come by today for your free in-home estimate. Don't forget, for the do-it-yourselfer, we also offer free next-day delivery on all qualifying stock floors. And as a bonus, go to carpetoutletplus.com and apply for 12 months no-interest financing. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99.
Randy sent me a disclaimer for Ford, but it says $1,667 a month. And I'm like, I don't know any car that's $16 a month. I was like, that has to be wrong.
Weekday morning, 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KE.
Also trashed Bondi, saying that she has completely whiffed on the Epstein thing and criticized her for saying, you know, the list is on my desk and bringing folks to the White House. He brought a bunch of influencers to the White House and sent them home with these folders, literally, that had nothing new on them. And that's what kicked the hornet's nest. You know, you pissed off a bunch of podcasters, assuring them there was something there, and you gave them a bunch of nonsense. And then you went on television as the top cop of the nation and said that the infamous Epstein list was on my desk. And then came out the very next morning and said, I don't know what you're talking about. No idea what, there's no list. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm telling you, this is just a cast of characters. They've already lost Dan Bongino, if you haven't heard that. The second in command of the FBI has stepped down, not even after a year, per my prediction. And I think Hegseth is next. I think Bondi's going to hang around. I think he likes her personally. And I think Susie Wiles is going to quit very soon. I think that's what that 11-month interview was about, was to try to send a message that there is an adult in the room and there is somebody who's going to be honest and straightforward. And she came out and said, Venezuela, it's not about cocaine, it's about regime change. She came out and said that the tariffs were a mistake. She blasted J.D. Vance for a guy that used to call the president American Hitler. and said that his conversion was political. And she called Elon Musk a ketamine fiend who used to sleep in a sleeping bag in the executive office building, which I think is Blair House, which is where the vice president lives, I think. Hey Siri, does the vice president live in Blair House?
Okay, I found this on the web for Does the Vice President Live in Blair House? Check it out.
Yeah, they do. Blair was a critical politician during the 19th century and helped Abraham Lincoln pass the Emancipation Proclamation and helped him solve the war. And his house was located right near the White House, and they have put that as the vice president's home. 842-5376, 842-KRN. Let's read a couple text messages, get to the bottom of the hour.
Ralph, our economy went from 178,000 jobs a month to 17,000 jobs a month. That's because of the tariffs. That's because of the uncertainty of the economy and also because of AI. Beef has gone up 15%. I'm buying a steak on payments.
Well, go to KC Steakhouse if you're trying to buy beef. Yeah, the jobs report was not positive. Unemployment is up at a significant high. It's about almost 5%. Not good. And that's why we're all kind of sitting on the edge of our chairs waiting to see what the president's going to say in about 33 minutes. Howard's right. I think the focus will be on Venezuela and the new blockade on all sanctioned oil tankers coming in and out of South America. But I wouldn't be surprised if he rambled a little bit and got into the economy. I just hope he does not say that affordability is a hoax. I think the level of the economy is exaggerated. But again, it's like arguing with your wife. You know, if she's mad, you got to address it. The issue might be nothing, but you still got to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Not that I have any clue what I'm talking about on that subject. Quick time out. Last half hour of the broadcast. Tomorrow's a Thursday. Michael Turnipseed and our money man, Daniel Petrie. In the meantime, keep it locked. It's TRBS. Don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The U.S. government has admitted that the Federal Aviation Administration and the Army played a role in causing the collision last January between an airliner and a Black Hawk helicopter near the nation's capital that killed 67 people. The official response to the first lawsuit filed by one of the victims' families said that the government is liable in the crash partly because the air traffic controller violated procedures on visual separation that night. President Donald Trump plans to give a preview of his 2026 agenda in a speech at the White House tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, a little over a half an hour from now. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 228 points, the NASDAQ dropped 418. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Child pornography and inappropriately touching at least 2 underage people are the accusations against Tehachapi gym teacher Timothy Seaman. The 43-year-old was arrested after the complaints and a search of his electronic devices. No name has been released yet for the man hit and killed by a truck on Highway 166 Monday afternoon, south of Maricopa. The Highway Patrol says 4 people were in his car and saw that happen. If you know who it was who had a gun inside the AM/PM convenience store November 30th on Brundage Lane, police say they'd appreciate a call. The man was caught on video and described as being in his mid-20s to 30s, slim, wearing a hoodie that had the word Thrasher in yellow, black pants, and white shoes. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Are the rising waters of expenses and debt threatening to drown you? Many people try to stay afloat by borrowing more money or using debt settlement programs, but those can take years. If you're trapped under credit card debt, medical bills, payday loans, or buy now, pay later plans, Chapter 7 bankruptcy could free you much sooner, in about 4 months and for a fraction of the cost. Stop the harassing calls and letters, rebuild your credit quickly, and clear the way for a fresh start. At Clean Slate BK Group, consumer Chapter 7 bankruptcies are all we do. We can help you erase credit card debt, medical bills, personal loans, even past due utility bills. Find out if you qualify at no cost and with no obligation. Go to csbk.com. This is an attorney advertisement. Your results may vary, and prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome. Clean Slate BK Group PC, located at 7 Penn Plaza, Suite 601, New York, New York 10001, is responsible for the content of this ad. For more information, visit csbk.com. That's csbk.com. Your clean slate starts here.
The best California courses cost a fortune unless you have the Central Coast Golf Card. It's the easiest, biggest savings golf gift. $125 can buy, no shipping required. Give the gift of great golf while it lasts at CentralCoastGolfCard.com.
On the next Armstrong and Getty show, we've been looking into this dynamic pricing thing where businesses can change prices moment by moment or customer by customer. It's way more widespread than we thought.
So we're going to wrap up our raising money for scouting, and we got some pretty fun motivators for you. It's going to be a very fun show. The next Armstrong and Getty show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Never heard this in my life.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
I have or had just about every Earth, Wind, and Fire album produced in the 1970s, and I have never, ever heard that song. And no, I'm not turning in my black card. God, I have enough gas to drive to Pittsburgh. I bet there are a lot of black folks ain't never heard that song before.
Oh, I guarantee you're right.
I ain't never heard that song before, and I'm pretty familiar with E, W, and F. There's other Republican news on the day. Did you see the 4 Republicans have pushed forward a vote on extending the ACA tax extensions, David Valadao being one of them, campaigning and representing a district that is 67% involved with the ACA and Obamacare and Medicaid. And this could be pivotal come next November. Remember, we're just 10, 11 months from the midterms, and it's beyond the time. There's not going to be a vote. I mean, they're leaving, they being the Congress, they're leaving like next week, like Monday, they're gone. So unless they work out something in 48 hours, which I doubt very seriously, this thing, open enrollment is almost over. And for those tax extensions, those ACA Obamacare subsidies to be extended, they've got to do something by New Year's Eve. And like I said, they're leaving Monday. So unless it's done by Friday, and they ain't going to stay over the weekend, you can bet on that. The smell of jet fuel gets guys the hell out of D.C., and it sometimes will prompt a vote, but not in this case. And again, I just think that's going to kill Republicans. They are going to slam that down people's throats come the midterms, that the 20 million of you who have lost your health care or insurance, guess who is responsible? And they're going to put it on the doorsteps of the Republicans, and it's going to work. And it's going to work. I think this is going to be David Valadeo's greatest, most contentious election since he lost to TJ Cox. And that was a fluke because TJ Cox was a crumb who inevitably got convicted of a crime, and just an absolute fluke. And then, of course, Rudy Salas, who Chris Burdick could beat in a debate, was no fight for Mr. Valadeo. Dr. Baines, no personality, no real true outstanding track record in terms of being a Democrat. As a Democrat in a vast sea of Democrats in Sacramento, you can make controversial votes because it has no impact on whatever the legislation is. You can go off the reservation and then come back to Bakersfield and say, oh, I bucked the Democrats. Yeah, because your vote didn't matter. Now, if your vote matters, that's when we find out your true feelings. But Salas did that when he was up there. I think it was the gas bill that he voted against, and then came back and flaunted that as if he'd actually done something courageous, as if he should be in Profiles in Courage or something. And in fact, it's just they give you a pass. Yeah, we don't need your vote. Go ahead and protect your constituents. You defend your district. But I don't know. Anything left on the board?
Yeah, I got a couple here. This first one says, I'm just going to accept the unvarnished fact that as an old person, I am uglier than sin. I'm just going to own it. It is who I am.
Yeah, I'm beginning to embrace that as well. I really am. I had a young woman friend of mine who's really attractive, and I kind of have a crush on, but I would never hit on her because she's 35. And she said, I don't know how we got on the discussion, but she said, I said something like, I said, I used to be a cute boy, but now I'm just an old, ugly old man. And she said, no, Ralph, you are what did she say? A fine fetching of a man. And I was like, if that's not the biggest insult I've ever gotten, you know what I mean? Like a 35-year-old, if she thinks you're attractive, she's not going to say, you're a fine, not fetching, something, fetching was in there. Fine fetching example of a man, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? 35-year-olds don't talk like that. That's how you describe your grandfather. You know what I'm saying?
She got that from like a TV show film she was watching.
Yeah, exactly. You know, if she thought I was attractive, she'd be like, no, Ralph, you're hot. You're a good-looking man.
Dude.
Yeah, you're a good-looking brother, man.
Say.
What's the matter with you? But you're a fine fetching model of a man. I was like, the hell does that mean?
I really want to know what she actually said too.
I wish I could remember.
Whoever it was, call in.
I should call her. No, she ain't listening. She's 35. She ain't listening. We were good friends, but that was one of the biggest insults. I was like, damn. I used to be a cute boy, but yeah, you're right. It's and you know, I always say this. I really thought I was going to be a cool old man. I thought I was going to ease into this part of my life because I've seen my mother and I knew she hasn't aged. She does not look 80. She's turning 84 next summer. And so I thought, you know, I'd keep my smooth skin and tightness, and I wouldn't have this turkey neck going on. And I thought I'd be like that cool old man. No. I'm struggling. David Couch, supervisor, tennis player, and overall good egg.
And now that's somebody who will test you in the tennis game.
Oh, I wouldn't even get on a court with David Couch. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't even be able to see his serve. He'd be like, Ralph, It's 15 love. Oh, did you serve? Oh yeah, there's the ball. I didn't even see it.
Can I get it back now?
Yeah, here you go. I didn't see it. He says a young woman gave Ralph Bailey a compliment about his looks, and you want to critique it? Come on, man.
He's got a point, though.
Yeah, but come on, David. Has anybody ever called you a fine fetching model of a man? I mean, that is the most backhanded compliment. You know, that's like saying, "No, you're not ugly.
You're just moderate.
You're just like, you know, C minus. You know, you're not ugly. I mean, you know, I wouldn't hook up with you, but you're not ugly." No, I was insulted. I really was. We were sitting in a bar and I literally went, "The hell does that mean?" It's like, you know. And that's why, and that's the follow-up was what did it, where she couldn't just say, "You're a good-looking man." She was like, "Well, you know, you. I'm like, just shut up.
You're you.
Just shut up. Just be quiet. Just
see. That's when it messes up. Is when you say you're you. That's when let's not.
Yeah. Old age sucks, man. What else you got?
I think Maya should get 2 years. The paternal grandmother said she's a good mom. I don't know a lot of grandmothers that aren't going to say good things about their grandbabies, though, to be completely fair.
And how in the world can she say that she's a good mom when she left a 2- and 1-year-old in a car for hours? For hours.
And if she was such a good mom, why didn't she drop him off with grandma?
Why didn't she just go check on them? How do you not, after sitting there for 45 minutes, not just go, let me just go check on my babies. Let me just go look in the car. Let me just go kiss them on the face, make sure everything's all right. No, I'm torn because at 20, by definition, you're stupid. You can't even rent a car, just to show you how stupid you are. Even the rent company, they're like, no, no, I don't care. 21, 22, you got to be 25 to rent a car. But she's doing some time. She's doing some time. She's good. I think it's going to be somewhere between what I'm saying and what Burdick is saying. Burdick says give her 18 years. I'm saying 5. It'll probably be somewhere in between.
I think 10 is probably going to be the number they sit on.
Yeah, 7, 8. Although the guy called us and said involuntary manslaughter is only 2 to 3, and she'll probably get a year or 2 for child cruelty. I just don't think, as we reported earlier, if you're just joining us, that the jury sent a note to Chip Bremer, Charles Bremer, the judge, and said at noon they were stuck. They were, that's the word I'm looking for, not stuck. They were, well, stuck is fine, on the second-degree murder. They were hung, is the word I was looking for, on the second-degree murder charge, which means they found her guilty on involuntary manslaughter, I'm guessing, pretty safely. And I'm guessing pretty safely they found her guilty on child cruelty. But whether they're willing to give 20-year-old 5, 10, 15 years for second-degree murder, and I don't see how you convince one side or the other. If you're in favor of second-degree murder and you're not, and the majority's not, how do you convince them? You know, I think that's why they gave the note so early. Because I think they realize there are just some people that are not going to change their minds on this thing. But the judge sent them back, and they'll deliberate. And I'm guessing by the end of the week, we'll have a verdict one way or the other. I think by the end of tomorrow. Because I think sometimes, and this is just human nature, I think everybody takes jury selection pretty seriously. I've done it once. I was on a jury once, and it was just a minor DUI case, and we took it pretty damn seriously. But at some point, you know, you want to get out of here. And even though somebody's life is in the balance, a lot of times, you know, particularly if it's one-sided to either decision, at some point it's just you relent, and you're just like, all right, I'll go with the majority after a while. I don't think that's common. Again, I think most citizens take jury duty incredibly seriously, particularly in a case like this, when you're talking about second-degree murder, but I don't see how people are going to change their mind on that. I really don't. Let's go ahead and take our final break of the day. Tomorrow is a Thursday. Mr. Turnipseed, Executive Director of Current Tax, will be with us at 4 o'clock, followed by our money man, Daniel Petrie, at 4:30. And we'll preview some court stuff on Friday. Mr. Scrivener is set to appear. We'll find out whether he gets his mental diversion. Let's be honest. We'll find out that he gets his mental diversion on Friday. Let me rewrite my lead. So I'll do some research and find out what exactly does that mean when Mr. Scrivener gets his mental diversion. It'll dismiss the case, but what does that mean for him? What must he do? Because let's face it, he's going to get his mental diversion. That's just me. I am ridiculously biased in this case. I don't think he's going to spend a second in jail or prison. I think this thing has all been worked out. And yes, we had Clayton Campbell in here who says that Rob Bonta and Cynthia Zimmer are not pals. I don't think it's a matter of doing a favor for Cynthia Zimmer. I think it's just this big elite club. What do they call it? The deep state? I don't know. I just think it's, and I'll be blunt. You know where I'm going. The complexion for the protection. Because if he was Latino or a brother, he'd be underneath the jail, showing up in an orange jumpsuit, but don't get bigoted Bailey started. Final break of the night. Keep it locked. The Charlie Kirk Show at the top of the hour. In the meantime, we're wrapping up the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, and we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday.
You ready? 3, 2. Here's the question that I have. We now know that Nick Reiner checked into a Santa Monica hotel, which the maid said were trashed. The shower was filled with blood. The sheets, the curtains were filled with blood. How the hell did he get into a hotel room filled with blood following the death of his mother and father? I just can't put that together. It was awful. 3, 2, it's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Thursday TRBS. Well, it's a Thursday. Mike Turnipseed will be here from the Current Tax Association, along with our money man, Daniel Petrie, and we'll preview Zach Scrivener's mental diversion appearance in court on Friday, and we may have a jury. God damn it. 3, 2, it's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Thursday TRBS. Mike Turnipseed from Current Tax, and of course, our money man, Daniel Petrie. And we're on jury watch in the Maya Hernandez case, and we'll preview Zach Scrivener's appearance in court on Friday. All that and me at 3. It's TRBS, Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. I'll see you at 3. What's for
Paul
dinner?
Sheldon and his staff, McCall, they are awesome. And I'd just like to say, Paul and your whole entire staff, you guys rock.
I bought a steak for Christmas
Our team has the
Eve.
answers.
God damn it, I want to fucking fire that motherfucker up.
2298.
And we're back. Another
Yes, we're
commercial
back.
for California Fruit Depot.
Cal Fruit Depot.
First, it needs to be said that a lot of listeners are complaining that you're not pulling your own weight on these commercials.
Wait, this is a 1-minute podcast. I'll lead with that. Now back to you.
If you're wearing a jacket and you're hearing this commercial, come on out to California Fruit Depot. Come on out and see us.
Not Christmas.
Oranges.
It's a jacket special.
Dates, shakes, smoothies, all those things. They're available.
What
Come
else
on out.
do
You
you
can
have out
ship them to family and friends all over the country.
Shipping available.
Another thing I like to talk about is getting a jingle.
please.
We need a jingle.
We do need it.
All musicians, bands. Hey, if you got AI capabilities, send us an AI commercial.
Submit it.
For California Fruit Depot. Has to be radio friendly.
Ooh, California Fruit Depot.
Got your citrus. Got your nuts.
Come get some dates. Come get your dates.
Send your jingle to citrusjinglecontest@gmail.com and come out to California Fruit Depot. Google us for directions, or you can visit us online at calfruitdepot.com.
Hey, I made the commercial.
The Charlie Kirk Show, weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
This is a nice version. Sounds live.
I believe it is. You never heard Bruce's version?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
This is my favorite version.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a nice arrangement. Then it gets the bottom seat. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. 842-5376, 842-KERN. In just a matter of minutes, the President of the United States. And this will be interesting. I can't remember the last time we've seen him do a national address where he's just going to sit down. It'll be interesting. I'm assuming he'll be sitting down behind a desk. I'm going to miss I'll catch the first 5 or 10 minutes here and miss some of the middle portions. What do you got for an over-under? I'm putting it at 45 minutes, and I'm betting on the over.
God, I hope you're wrong because I have to sit here and run it. So.
Do you really? Oh,
Yep.
that sucks. Yeah.
I mean, I was told 10, but I know that's way under anything Donald has ever done. So.
Well, I mean, this is a different type of speech. You know, this is a sit down, read the prompter, one-on-one, no audience, no nothing. So it could be shorter. You know, when he goes on for hours is when he's got an audience.
Yeah, well, like the other night when we
Yeah.
looked up, he started at 4 and didn't end until what, 7, 8?
Yeah, literally. He went on for hours and hours and hours. This is a little different. I don't think he's going to get off script on this one. I think he's just going to sit there and read the prompter the way JFK did, like I mentioned, when he made the announcement of the Cuban Missile Crisis, or when they were going to send National Guards into Alabama when George Wallace was preventing black folks from going to school, or when Lyndon Johnson announced that I will not seek, nor will I accept the nomination of my party, which was one of the stunning presidential addresses ever, or when Nixon announced right around my birthday when I was 12 years old in 1974 that effective immediately, Gerald Ford will take over as president of the United States. God, have you ever? There's a great, I don't know if you call it a documentary, but there's about a 15-minute piece on Nixon's speech. And it's him getting ready and him yelling at the guys about the lights, and he couldn't read the prompter and he wanted them. It's fascinating, his final speech. And then because the reason it's only 15 minutes is because the other 45 minutes is Nixon's final address to his people, where I swear I think he was drunk as a skunk. And he starts rambling about his parents and fighting, and it's right before Gerald and Betty walk him out to the helicopter, and he gives the famous peace speech, which I think he really wanted to pull down his index finger and say, F all of y'all. I'm going back to Cali. I'm going back to Cali. F all y'all. You know what I'm saying? 842-5376. Read a couple of text messages. Let's go watch the president.
I give the Trump administration an A+. He saved my marriage by getting my mother-in-law deported.
That's almost funny.
I hope you're kidding.
I'll give you a strikeout, but it got away from the catcher, so you're on base. It's clever, not funny, but it's a clever attempt. So I'll give you a strikeout, but it got away from the catcher, and you're on first base. That's funny, the mother-in-law thing. I found out, I was a little kid and I didn't believe that. And then I would hear my mother talk about my grandmother, who was a saint. My father's mother was a saint, and my mother couldn't get along with him. It was like Everybody Loves Raymond. My grandmother would come to California and would insist on cooking. And my mother would, when we would go to Beaufort, my mom would try to help her. No, baby, I got it. And my mother always took that as my grandmother didn't think that my mother could cook. And that in-law stuff is true. And my mother always thought my dad never wanted to go to Savannah to see her mother. I've told you the famous story about me having to stay for my championship baseball game when I was in 6th grade. And it just so happened that on that trip, we were starting in Savannah, and my mother was livid. My mother was like, if we were going to Beaufort to see your mama, you'd make sure that boy was on the plane. But we're going to see my mama in Savannah, and now what am I supposed to tell him? The Big Ralph and Little Ralph is at a Little League game? That's what I'm supposed to tell my family? They didn't fly with me over here to Atlanta, all the way to Savannah, because Ralph's at a Little League game with his daddy. Is that what I'm supposed to tell him? My father was like, yeah. Hey, I'll be there in a day. Let the boy finish this damn season. And I did. And we lost. I got to get out of here. For Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. Wrap to you tomorrow.
This is AM 1180 KERN. Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM. Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump is about to address the nation this hour from the Oval Office. Earlier today, the president said Venezuela is using oil from land stolen from the United States, and he wants it back.
You remember they took all of our energy rights. They took all of our oil from not that long ago, and we want it back. But they took it. They illegally took it.
The president this week ordered a blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers going into and out of Venezuela. A clash between protesters and ICE agents was captured on video in Minneapolis. Correspondent Lisa Dwyer reports.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
Federal immigration agents.
Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is
Confrontation
coming
with protesters, which was captured in video by bystander Lauren Spencer. The video shows the attempted arrest of a woman in which an officer kneeled on her back as she lay atop a snowbank. Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin says federal officers tried to arrest the woman because she rushed an ICE vehicle. She also says that several officers were injured. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
The U.S. government has admitted that the Federal Aviation Administration and the Army played a role in causing the collision last January between an airliner and a Black Hawk helicopter near the nation's capital that killed 67 people. The official response to the first lawsuit filed by one of the victims' families said that the government is liable in the crash partly because the air traffic controller violated procedures on visual separation that night. But the filing suggested that others also played a role. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 228 points. More at townhall.com.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into.
$17.
And that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge. But it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MetaShare works too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth.